Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Bacon Bears, and this is called That's My Opinion, where we cover all sorts of stuff and trials. I am going to talk fast today because we have a lot that we have to get through because I've been missing some stream days. So the first thing we're going to go over is the Helen interview. Obviously, I was supposed to interview Helen last week. We all saw what happened with that, but I let the crowd vote, and overwhelmingly, they wanted to hear her side of the story. So just to give you um, a little synopsis, at the end of a recent bankruptcy hearing for Ron Owens and Jan Black, who are Laura Owens's parents, who we've covered in depth, someone in the hearing's public Zoom chat raised a topic of the GoFundMe, and that was Helen, who we'll be speaking to today. It was then the court clerk that flagged it to the DOJ attorney Jennifer Giamo and the judge. And something that the clerk wasn't required to do, but she chose to do. And Giamo has said that she intended to formally ask them when she had talked to them the next time about the GoFundMe. She had already known about it. And it was in the upcoming meeting of creditors. And she wanted to talk specifically why it wasn't disclosed in either of their bankruptcy filings. Helen was brought to my attention by another creator in the community, and we thought that it would be a good idea to talk about it. One of the things that she wanted to talk about was the fact that uh, this whole thing has gotten blown wildly out of proportion, and some things that are being said that aren't necessarily true. So she reached out to me. She wanted an opportunity to have a back and forth conversation. And so we're going to do that now. All I'm going to ask is that if you disagree, that's fine. Everybody can handle a little disagreement. We ask you to do it respectfully in the comments. And with that being said, I'm going to welcome Helen to the stage. So, hello, Helen.
Hello. Thank you
Hello.
so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. It seems you have caused quite a ruckus over here.
Yeah, which was very much unexpected.
Sure.
I mean, it was unexpected with from the beginning.
Hmm.
And I mean, everything that happened last week, which I'm sure you've gone over, a bajillion times now on stream, that was very unexpected too. So yeah, it's been a wild ride, but honestly, it's been like a wilder ride. I feel like for people like you and Tiff, um, because you're kind of forced to face it, like I had said to you privately, which for me, it's something that I'm opting into. So,
Tell me a little bit. So, actually, I had gotten a text message, and somebody said that you wanted to have. Oh, we all know who it is. It's Tiff.
well,
But Tiff
yeah.
said you wanted to have a call with me. So you and I had the call. What was it about this whole thing that made you want to reach out to a content creator to just come out further and talk about this?
Well, honestly, the the biggest thing that's been bothering me is people getting just like the cold hard facts wrong. I've seen, like misinformation about what I did, which feels like such a small thing. And it felt like such a small thing at the time. And it, obviously ended up being a lot bigger than I expected. I didn't do it thinking about like, this sort of like reverberation of, you know, effect. But that was the main thing was just that there's like several versions going around of something that is like pretty easily verifiable
So
too.
before we get into that, let's go back to the day at hand, right? The ultimate mortal sin, the crime that you committed.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
Now you and I have talked about this on offline, and
Hmm.
I told you I disagreed. I would never I don't want to be anywhere near that bankruptcy chat. I don't want to be in
Yeah.
it. I don't want to be close. I don't want to be in the vicinity of these people because I don't want them in the vicinity of me. But I do understand why people go on these calls, why they want to hear them, why they want to take in this information. What was it? Have you been on court calls before this for this case?
Um, yeah. There's a couple that I've watched live. So this was not. my first time watching one.
Okay.
I've been following the case for, like, from around the beginning. Um, and I mean, just to, go back, I will say that, like, I'm not a Bachelor fan. I've never seen an entire episode of The Bachelor, which is not to, like, shit on The Bachelor at all,
I
because
never watched it either, to be
I
honest with you.
watch way worse stuff. I mean, like, I'm a Barb from Teen Mom's, like, number one fan. So
Oh,
definitely no shame
yeah.
about people watching The Bachelor. But I do follow, like, pop culture stuff in general, and so I became aware of it. Um, I guess after Laura had gone to, like, the Daily Mail or whatever, and started following it from there.
So
And
you've been around since the beginning.
yeah, I've been around since the beginning. And, like, I wasn't, following it super close at first, but, and I think this is true for a lot of people, like, the longer it went on, the more, like, absolutely bonkers everything
Right.
became. And
Right.
so that's when it's like, okay, well, now I'm following a lot closer. And I think that joining the initial, like, Dave Neal Discord, um, was kind of what got me, like, super into it, because I've
Yeah.
never been in, like, a true crime community or anything before. But, like, once I was in there, then it's like, oh, okay, so this is gonna be, like, a daily thing that I'm checking up on. Like, this is my hobby right now.
Well, the thing is too is I mean, this case, it's so easy for it to become all encompassing because
Mhm,
it's first of all, it's so egregious.
mhm,
Everything that she does, she attacks every community possible. Um,
right.
if you've ever God, if you've ever suffered anything from one end of the spectrum to the other, she's mocked it in a way.
Yeah.
So I understand, and people are very passionate about this case, and they're very passionate about seeking justice for this case, which I am also. I think that there's a lesson to be had, and I think that there's a example to be made of Laura Owens. What was it
I
about this
hope so.
particular yeah, what was it about this particular bankruptcy hearing because you went on other live hearings? What was it about this one that you felt so inclined to get on the chat?
So, I mean, just to get, like, the cold hard facts out there, because this is something that has been an area of contention. Some people think something entirely different happened. So in that, I don't remember the exact date, but it was, the initial hearing after, Ron and Jan had, filed for dismissal. So the hearing, this wasn't like the meeting of the creditors. It was, them trying to get their, second, Chapter 13, I guess, bankruptcy hearing dismissed. And, I, towards the end of the hearing, put into the courtroom chat, asked about the GoFund, or the GFM. Um, and that's it. That's all that I said. Um, Tiff says it was July 1st. So, okay, July 1st. Um, and yes, that's all that I said. I was expecting nothing from it, but it was at the end of a hearing where, in classic Jan and Ron style, they were spewing a bunch of bullshit,
Mhm.
and, um, somehow coming away, fairly unscathed. And it seems like, even though, you know, Queen Jennifer was on the case and that judge was, laying it down, it seems like they were about to get their second filing dismissed.
Yeah.
And I have been so yeah, that's all that I did. I put that one sentence into the chat. That was
Were
it.
other people
And
chatting at the time?
then no,
Okay.
I don't remember. I think that someone after I commented might have left a similar comment, but it was so close to the end of the hearing that it I don't know, and I was, like, freaking out too because, I put this into the chat and then the clerk, like, 2, 3 minutes later, as the judge is, like, winding things down, she goes over and, like, whispers to her, like, stage whispers so we could still hear her saying, um, that someone in the chat was asking about a GoFundMe campaign. And so the judge brought it up. And so that's what happened. And the reason, I mean, you asked, just to go back to your original question, like why that hearing? I just I just lost it. Like I could not handle it anymore. The fact that, you know, like they were getting away with hiding $130,000 and they've been getting away with it. And I didn't think that anything would come from putting that in the chat. But the fact that it was like, okay, the hearing is like wrapping up, and still this campaign, this public campaign that they put money into advertising it on Facebook. I mean, it's been around for like a year and a half now, and it still was nowhere on the legal record. And
So,
it
uh,
pissed me off.
yeah, one thing I have a question is somebody
Mhm.
asked, and they disagree, because, and I mean, I think I already know the question to this, but if this were a public hearing and you were sitting in a courtroom, would you then feel so inclined to ask that same question?
No, no way. I mean, I I mean, yeah, it's easier to do it from the anonymity of, a computer or laptop. No, but
Yeah.
I've also, I mean, I've never been in a in a court hearing in person. I imagine that if I was, even if I was just sitting there like watching it, I would be shitting bricks just because of like the energy in the room. So no, of course I wouldn't shout that out in person. But the thing is, I don't feel like I did the equivalent of that during this hearing either because the Zoom chat doesn't, you know, it doesn't go straight to the judge. It doesn't like send off like alarm bells. It's not like a cell phone going off, in the middle of a hearing. It's just this thing that exists
Yeah. I think
quietly.
I think where the community is torn, right,
Hmm.
is somebody had brought up, it's the same concept in my opinion. A virtual hearing is supposed to be treated like an in-person hearing. And one thing that I
Hmm.
want to say, I did a little research. There are the actual rules governing the chat, and I pulled this straight from the District of Arizona Bankruptcy Court's own published
Hmm.
guide. So if anybody wants to go check, they can. Um, Chat is one of these things in the hearing that can be turned off by the court at any point and no
Hmm.
warning needed. What is spoken out loud is the only thing that counts as a part of the official record. So
Hmm.
anything that's actually typed in the chat has zero legal weight.
Yeah.
So you typing in chat doesn't necessarily break any rules. Now, I think the argument that's being had is the difference over breaking rules and courtroom etiquette, right?
Right.
And would it be different if you were in a live courtroom? Sure. Should it be the same if you're in a virtual hearing? Maybe. It's not something I would personally ever do. Um,
Hmm.
do you feel differently now that you've done it?
No. Um, well, I mean, I certainly, like I said, I would not shout out something unprompted in, a physical like courtroom setting. And I understand that there's supposed to be the same thing, but I mean, it feels different when you're sitting at home and watching something in the same way that I don't know, like you definitely understand. I understand that it's easier for people to say really mean things about you on
Mhm.
the internet. Um, but honestly, in that moment, I wasn't thinking super deeply about it. I was just like, I fucking had it. I
Yeah.
had fucking had it. And I mean, I can get into it a bit, but like, this again, this is $130,000 that they received from like public goodwill. And the way that that kind of money could change my life um, in massive ways and a lot of other people's, I mean, maybe to them it doesn't seem like that much money because they used to be so well off. Um, but yeah, I just, I acted, some would say rationally, emotionally, and yeah, it did feel different to do it because I was doing it in this, the setting of the Zoom chat where I knew that I thought the worst thing that would happen would be, oh, they're not going to like this and they're going to boot me from the hearing, which fair. Um, but they didn't.
Yeah.
And they not only did they not boot me or close the chat, but the clerk thought it was noteworthy enough to mention. Um, so I don't feel differently, I guess.
So the other thing is too is people have brought up that you did it a second
Yeah, I
time at
did.
the
Mhm.
next one and you had asked about the car and then you rescinded that
Yeah,
comment, you took it
I
back.
deleted it. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. So that was towards the beginning of that hearing. And so in both of these cases, like I'm on I'm part of a Discord group and I'm watching live with my like my Discord friends, my internet friends, and that are, it's specifically about this case. And I dropped that comment. I said they just or she just bought a car or they just bought a car about 2 weeks ago or something like that. And then someone in my Discord whose opinion I trust and I appreciate said, hey, maybe don't bring that up right now. And I think that was me being kind of like a little bit drunk with power in that moment because, it was only like a week, I think, after, um, the previous hearing, and shit was already starting to hit the fan for Ron and Jan, like with the GoFundMe. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. They're finally getting held accountable for it. And then again, someone in my Discord said, not the best time. We don't know if they actually were like co-signers on Laura's new car. So I said, you know what? Good point. And I deleted the comment and then haven't done anything since then.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that was me being a little like pushing it a bit, I guess, because I felt like, oh my gosh, like look what I have wrought. This is awesome. And then I needed a little bit of a you know, like roll it back there, swirly Dan like moment. So
A humbling perhaps.
yeah, humbling.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
There you go.
when I put this originally up, one of the overarching themes that everybody was talking about was really about the transparency of the judicial system and cases.
Hmm.
And when we cover I mean, if you look at true crime as a whole now compared to 5 years ago, compared to 10 years ago, it's just so easily and ready to consume. And I think um and I feel uh, I would never insert myself in a case that I'm not in. I find it to be
Hmm.
an overstepping of bounds. And one of the things that a lot of people have issues with is the fact that if you were to, or when they felt like you overstepped your bounds, um, two things. Either A, how does this affect the transparency of these cases, right? Do we,
Hmm.
and eventually we'll get the access to it, but they want it now, right? They want to have that access immediately. And does that close these things off to the public? And the second thing is, by you doing something like this, a lot of people feel that that then gives Ron and Jan the validity, or yeah, Ron, Jan, and Laura, the validity to when they're talking about a smear campaign, when
Yeah.
people are jumping in chats, or overstepping their bounds into a case that they have no place in.
Hmm.
And that's the thing. The last thing that the Owens family needs is any sort of ammunition,
Yeah.
any even
Absolutely.
little right, like little win against the internet community.
Yeah. Yeah. And I felt the same way when, I'll just, mm, let me think about how to say this. I felt the same way when there was a situation a few months ago where Laura took someone to court and actually kind of had a legal win.
Yeah.
And I felt the same way about that situation because I was like reading her filings. I was like, well, shit, she's not wrong here. This, and it makes us look really bad.
Yeah.
Um, I just don't think what I did. I personally, I don't think it's on the same level. And it was again in a public hearing where it was allowed. And they let me they let me get away with it, and then I went too far with the second one,
Hmm.
and I very, very quickly, that comment was up there for like 2 minutes before I deleted it. And it was not deleted by the court. Um, that's absolutely not true. But the thing is, like, they're gonna talk about like the smear campaign thing no matter what. And that's been Jan's fallback for a really long time. And obviously, the courts know, the judges know that this case has public attention on it. Um, but they also, I mean, again, with the GoFundMe, they were paying like monthly fees to Facebook to advertise this GoFundMe. It's not like it was some big secret. So if Jan wants to call that part of the smear campaign, she'll call anything part of the smear campaign. So I don't think it gives them ammunition. I think I just don't think there's any way that, they'll try. They have tried, but there's no way that they can turn around the fact that they tried to hide from the courts that they had publicly received
Yeah.
over $130,000. So,
Negla asks, do you think it would have been more appropriate for you to have given that info to the trustee's office as a whistleblower as opposed to bringing it up during the hearing? Obviously, everything is 2020 in hindsight, right?
right, right.
Um,
I did though. I emailed I emailed him about it like a week prior from like a burner email, and obviously didn't receive a response. But I don't know if she even saw that, and I am sure I'm not the only person that's done that. But yeah, I did. I just sent her a link to the GoFundMe. Um, and again, it was just like something that I did acting out of emotion in the moment. So I wasn't thinking like, is this appropriate or not? I was just like, fuck these people.
yeah.
I was so mad. And if it's okay with you, I would like to add like a little bit more like personal context to
Go ahead.
that, unless there's any like immediate questions. But so when I started following the case, which again, like I said, was like around the time that Laura had gone to the media. Um, I had actually found out quite recently. Um, sorry, getting some water. Um, I had found out that I was pregnant unexpectedly, um, via my ex-boyfriend. He was really my boyfriend too. This wasn't like a Clayton is my fiance situation. Um, and I, so I was basically in the position that Laura was pretending to be in. I, at the exact same time, I mean, this would have been like the summer of 2023, um, which is also part of why I ended up following it as closely as I did because of like these sorts of like parallels. Um, but I very quickly was like, this is bullshit. What is she talking about? Like, pregnancies aren't dated by the day of conception. Like, that's not how this works. Like, Planned Parenthood, you know, isn't some shady backdoor kind of place where you can just go in and like, you know, not receive like a high standard of care and have your records be lost and things like that. Um, but my experience actually being pregnant and alone and unsupported because I don't have a rich ass family, um, was it was terrible. It was, I
Yeah.
mean, it was really really hard, and to see someone so obviously pretending, um, really really pissed me off, and I ended up having a real baby in December of 2023, pretty shortly after she had like or she filed something saying that she was no longer pregnant.
Yeah.
Um, and my actual due date was like 2 weeks before hers, but I developed preeclampsia with severe features, and so I had to give birth early. I I had a C-section alone, um, by myself because it happened so quickly that my mom couldn't be there and my best friend
Yeah.
that was going to come into town couldn't be there. I'd also been evicted from my apartment 2 weeks prior. I was sleeping on a friend's couch. I I know what this stuff's like, and I ended up placing my son in an open adoption, a pre-planned adoption, which I don't want to turn this into a whole thing about adoption because I have a lot of feelings about that. But I think about like, okay, so these people had this, you know, these people so easily raised $130,000 and or over $130,000. And if I had had like $2,000, like at the time that I was in the hospital, then I would be a mom right now. Things would have
Yeah.
been different. I didn't have like I didn't have a car, I didn't have anywhere to take him home to.
Yeah.
Um and to and so it sucks. It feels really really personal to have watched this and to have watched these very very privileged, very wealthy people sort of cosplay poverty at the same time, um, that their daughter is pretending to have experienced something that she very obviously hasn't. And
What
so, yeah, I get really emotional, especially with the money stuff, because
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, I mean, that's one of the things that we talk about in, you know, length on my channel is every single from male to female to pregnant to adoption to infertility to Asherman syndrome to PCOS to
ovarian
autism
cancer.
to ovarian cancer, right?
Yeah.
She hits all of these points and she makes a mockery of real world experiences. um and a lot of us get fired up and it's, I mean,
Yep.
we do it in these chats.
And I
You
did.
did it
Yeah, I
in a
got
court
very
chat,
fired up. That's what it. Yeah. I
but
did it in a court
but
chat. I did it in a court chat.
right,
I
but I
did it. But I was
understand.
just, I mean, that kind of money. Oh my God, that kind of money would, and they squandered it. And also, I mean, the fact that they thought they could get away with it, it's just, it's, it says so much about them and their courtroom etiquette, actually. Perjury, just constant perjury. That's so, yeah, I mean, I totally understand that I totally get why it could be perceived as inappropriate for sure. And you're welcome to feel that way because what I did was just like a totally emotional reaction in the moment.
Right.
And I'm not trying to like share a sob story to absolve myself of, you know, however people feel. I'm just adding context. And
Well,
also, it's not something I get to talk about very often. And
also
so it's nice
too,
to.
one thing I want to bring up, because this just crossed my mind right now. One of the things that I want to bring up is having emotional reactions and courtroom etiquette. My question to the people in the chat or to the people watching this, is this any different than when people burst out into laughter when Laura Owens was on the stand in the
Mhm,
court hearing and they were in the court? And
mhm,
Greg Woodnick had to turn around and be like, absolutely not. He had to admonish them. I mean, I think you have a little bit more of a comma between that moment because
mhm.
you're in the chat and you choose, there's a lot of filters that it goes through. Um, but I mean, there was an outburst of multiple people who laughed at Laura on the stand. And for courtroom etiquette, that's also wildly inappropriate. But people
Yeah,
didn't seem to have a problem with that either. Everybody thinks it's funny.
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I had a problem with that. I would hope that, you know, other people did. Judge Mata had a problem with that. Um, but yeah, I mean, you can consider them comparable or not. I would like to think that my outburst was at least slightly more productive, which is also why, I wanted to talk about it because I've seen like Reddit comments of people being like, yeah, she was trolling in the chat. Like I I made two comments, one of which I deleted after, but I deleted very quickly. But other than that, it's not like I was, it's not like there was like a stream of shit being talked or something. I wasn't I I wasn't trolling in the chat, and I wasn't just LOLing at all the things that I was in my Discord um laughing at. And I don't know, like I said, I've never been to a hearing in person. So I mean,
Tell
I
me,
would have tried to stifle my laughter, but maybe it was completely uncontrollable for them too. I don't know.
um, tell me a little bit about the backlash that you got immediately after.
Well, I didn't really get any immediately after. It wasn't until um a little bit later, and I think it was mostly a kind of stirred up by a specific Twitter account.
Okay.
Um, and that specific Twitter account kind of exists just to rile people up anyway. Um, the last I checked like last night just to like see if I needed to, have any updates on that. And the last two tweets they sent were close-up pictures of Mitch McConnell's wife's hands saying man hands, she has man hands. Like they were tweeting it to like two separate people, which was very bizarre. They engage in a lot of bizarre behavior, but I also have a bunch of followers. And so I think that that's what like really heated things up. Um, but otherwise, like, I mean, so I saw, people talking on Twitter and saying that what I did was stupid and I'm ruining it for everyone and da 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 da. And then I started kind of seeing that a bit on Reddit. I honestly didn't realize just how bad it was until last week when I heard about the response in the other Discord. Um, so I knew that it was bad, but I thought it was going to be like, okay, let me go and just like clear the air, make sure that everyone understands exactly what happened, that there wasn't any trolling in the chat, that I did not get in trouble for the second comment about the car. I deleted that myself. I, did it because someone who is level-headed uh, advised me to, and I said, you know what, you're right, cool, done. Um, and I thought it was going to be really simple for me and for you. Um, but Laura Hoens, what are you doing here? Laura,
Trolling.
get out. Um, fix your top knot
I
and
think the
get
thing
out
that
of
we need
here.
to look at though, if we're coming down to it, this is all opinion based, right? You were
Oh yeah,
never admonished by
absolutely.
the court. Nothing negative came out of this. This is all opinion based and what people
Yep.
think is the right etiquette or the wrong etiquette to have in these forums. The one thing that when I did the research on my own, um, it is it the story has been told very differently. There
Hmm.
was no outburst in the court. There was no disruption of the court. And
Hmm.
the court clerk was the one who monitors the chat and was able to take it to the judge. So the way that I was told it, the way that I watched it, and then the way that I read it as what can happen, are three very different things that happened.
Hmm.
And we watched the 341 hearing where a bunch of people were on that too. And people were actually admonished in the chat because they couldn't mute their phones.
Yeah, muting their phones.
Right. And I think
Yeah.
that's one of the things that, will get these things taken away, right? If you
Oh
can
yeah.
if you can go in there and you can't do what you're supposed to do, um, then we are going to get these things taken away. And like I've told you
Yeah.
before, and offline and online, this is not something I would ever condone. This is not something that I
Hmm.
would ever do. And if somebody feels so inclined, then they're going to have to do that on their own and kind of carry the weight that you have.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with a true crime community like this one. And that's the thing is I've covered a lot of true crime cases. I have never dealt with like a a group that is so passionate about one
Hmm.
case. I've just kind of made my videos and gone along. I don't agree with dogpiling on anyone other than Laura Owens, to be honest
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah.
Um, what were people saying that was different? Because you said that this people were trying to change the stories of what happened.
Yeah. Yeah. So they were saying, like I said, that I was like talking continually in the chat, which isn't true. Um, and saying that the judge deleted my comment and kicked me out of the second hearing, which isn't true.
Okay.
And those were the two things um, that it's like seemed to be going around the most. And I mean, they seem like minor, it's, like minor perjury, but those, making my actions like sound like that really, really changes the narrative. Like it really, really does. I mean, that sounds awful. Like, yeah, I would absolutely judge someone for like quote unquote trolling in the chat, for talking nonstop in the chat, for saying unnecessary things in the chat. Um, and so I don't want people to think that that I was doing that.
Yeah.
Um, and so that really bothered me. And I also know that so many people were watching that, were watching live and could vouch for the fact that that's not what happened. Um, and yet this narrative spreads because that's how things go. And, I'm anonymous, but it's just like, yeah, it bothered me.
Yeah.
Um, and, I certainly don't want to, I don't regret doing it. I absolutely understand and I'm fine with people not condoning it. I get why you would take that position, but I also want to be clear that I'm not saying that because I want to like encourage people to, follow suit. I don't want to start like a trend of that. And I also like had some concern about, people trying to say that Helen is this person, Helen is that person, because I did see some people saying like, I think I know who Helen is. Oh,
Yeah.
I have my theories, and like it, when they're saying that, they're insinuating that it's someone that like everyone would know, and I'm not that kind of figure at all in the community. Um, so I didn't want that to happen. I didn't want to risk people also putting that as their name and you know going in and
Doing it again and having them
yeah,
think
and
it was
acting
you.
ridiculous. Yeah, and
Okay.
acting ridiculous. Yeah. So, I mean, I have no plans to say anything further. I just really wanted the GoFundMe on the record.
Yeah.
So, and also with the 304 meeting when like people were struggling so much to meet their phones, um, the 304 meeting is a completely different type of meeting too. I mean, that's when we're like, absolutely not. I never would have asked that question because a meeting of the creditors is very different from the dismissal hearing. I mean, that's like, no, only creditors are allowed to speak. That's something that, is made very, very clear. So,
Well,
um,
and the other thing is I saw a comment too, and it's very interesting because people are talking about Clayton, being in the chat and asking the same question. Would they be upset with him? How do people
mhm,
not know that you could have been a creditor? You could have been somebody who had potentially donated to the GoFundMe asking about your money.
right, right. I mean, it's, like a lot of people have said, it seems to be mostly like a few bad apples or whatever. Hey, Laura. Um, but those people, like, they immediately jumped to the worst possible conclusion and like the worst possible narrative and created this villain um, because, you know, everyone loves a villain that they can all pile onto. Um, And yeah, but that's a good point. I mean, they didn't know. They hadn't, maybe I was, yeah, maybe I was Clayton. Obviously, I'm not, but I could have been, and they had no idea. So I just, I don't know. I don't, like I said, I understand where people are coming from,
Mhm.
but I, and I'm not planning on doing it or anything like that again. But I really don't have regrets about it. And I would like to address, and this might piss some people off, but one of the other like sort of like main arguments that people have made, even in like a reasonable way, is that your behavior is going to get the courts like all of the hearings closed, like they're going to be private. Um, and that seems to be like a major argument that's been put forward is that, well, this is going to make, yeah, this is going to make people, or this is going to make the courts be like, well, yeah, these can't be public hearings anymore. And I don't know if that's even possible with bankruptcy cases. Um, but I will say that if your main concern is that you won't get to watch the hearings that are going to happen anyway anymore, that's not that's not putting justice for Clayton and Mike and Greg first. I mean, that's I understand that concern because I love mess and I love watching these things and I love getting this information, but if it's going to happen privately, it's still happening. Um,
Yeah.
whether or not we are allowed to watch it. So that, also it hasn't been a concern of mine because it hasn't happened. I mean, all of this has been going on like within the community
Hmm.
since I made that comment, but nothing has changed in the proceedings. So,
Is there I have no I'm waiting for like some questions from the chat. Those were my questions and my concerns, and also when people were coming out and were saying, so what happened, let me just give you a little perspective of
mhm.
um um where I was. Sorry, my babysitter is texting me about my son upstairs.
Oh,
So I I had no I like listen, I put my blinders on. I got a
mhm,
family, I got kids. I come downstairs, I have my little notes of the things that I'm going to talk about. I do that, I shut the computer off and I go about my business. So I had no idea that this was a thing. And when I had spoken to you first and you and I had a little chat about what it was about. I didn't ask you too much because I wanted to
mhm,
save it for the interview, but I got the overall understanding. I agreed to go through with the interview. And then it was when people were disagreeing with the interview that I'm like, "Oh, I see now." I had a bigger picture of why
mhm.
people were upset. And I understood that. And I understood, and it was a lesson to be learned for me, and there was a lot of growing pains this past week for me, but
Well,
you
yeah,
know,
this all happened in like less than 24 hours too,
yeah.
which maybe people don't realize. Like, this was all like we spoke for the first time and then planned on, you know, doing the interview the very next day. I mean, like
Yeah,
this all happened very, very quickly.
right. I've
So,
also I've never I've never been on the side of a large group of people disagreeing with me, right? So
mhm,
I wanted to hear what everybody had to say, and I went back and I was taking notes, and then I was like, you know what? Now's not the time. And you and I had a conversation. And by the way, you were so gracious to me, and thank you. I would like everybody to know that in the email that you sent me, it was, I'm sorry you're going through this. This is not your cross to bear. I don't
yeah, I
want to
didn't
see
want it
any
on you.
blowback for you. But also, and that's ultimately why I decided to again do this. A, the people wanted to see it, but also, there are a lot of learning lessons here.
Mhm.
Obviously, is it something that we should condone for people to talk in public chats? I mean, that's up to everybody. I don't. Some people do. I'm watching the chat right now, and some people are like, "Well, if it's public, then it should be public. You should be able to, say the things that you want to say." And I really wanted to have this conversation just because I think that, um, just a lot of things can be learned. And also, too, even if you don't agree with all sides of the story, I just don't understand why we're not in a place where grace can't be given.
Right. Right. And I would also like to add that you were equally protective of me um, when we were talking last week. I mean, you were saying, like, this is what my chat looks like, this is what the Discord looks like. I don't want you to walk into this, not knowing that there's a lot of people that are like out for blood right now. And I
Hmm.
appreciated that so much. But I also, like I saw people comparing you talking to me to like, well, if Laura contacted you and want an interview. Would you not do that?" And it's like, that's okay. First of all, if Laura asked you to do an interview, I mean, I'm assuming you would do it. And
Absolutely.
every single one of us would inject that interview like directly into our veins. We would eat that up. And anyone who says otherwise is lying. But I also think that, I don't know, I don't see what I did being, you know, eh, anywhere near. I don't see how it could
No, no, no,
possibly
no.
like
But no, but
bring
that's
about
the
that
thing.
comparison, you know? Like,
No, but I mean, when we're talking about adversarial conversations, the
mhm.
most adversarial conversation that I could have on this channel at this time would be with Laura Owens.
Oh my God, I
And that
would
would be that was the thing.
would
And that
die.
was that was my gripe is my integrity shouldn't be and I took on this interview. I didn't know what you were gonna say. I didn't
Yeah.
ask you questions. I didn't know. But I did give you fair warning that if I don't disagree or if I don't agree with something, um, then I'm gonna tell you that. So just I
Mhm.
wanted you to know that we were walking into a discussion that could potentially be uncomfortable before you stepped foot on my channel.
Yeah. Which is, you know, happens often with adult grown-up discussions. I mean, that's okay with me to a certain extent, you know. There's some I'm not a professional. I'm not a journalist, I'm not a content creator, I'm not an interviewer, but there are certain people that I wouldn't even bother talking to. But, you know, I think it's important that we try our best to engage in conversations that we're not sure like what way they're going to go. Um, and I mean, I had specifically, everyone knows that by now that Tiff was the one that, uh, you know, kind of like connected us because I reached out to her specifically because I mean, there's no one I trust in the community more than Tiff. And I think a lot of us feel that way. Um, and I told her, like, I'm not asking you to platform me because I feel like, you exist as this really important, level headed voice of reason, bank of information from her career. And she can kind of, be like Switzerland, I guess. But I asked her if there was anyone that she knew of that would be, willing to do it, but also, I don't know, I've been, in a group with Tiff for a while now. And so I feel like she has an understanding of my personality and whatnot. And so I trusted her judgment when she recommended you, um, because I know that that's something that she thought about and that she wasn't putting me in any kind of like danger. And then when I talked to you for the first time, I also was like, okay, yeah, I like this person. This is a very reasonable person. And
You caught me on a good day.
I mean, look, I'm the queen of having an emotional outburst myself, apparently, which I did see someone in the chat earlier say, like, yeah, we all have emotions and we all want to outburst sometimes, but we're grown ups and we control them. And like, look, if you're trying to tell me that like I need to go to therapy and, figure this shit out, I'm working on it, okay? I'm in therapy
Right.
twice a week, okay? Like, I get it. I get it. Yeah, I do need to work on that. I do need to work on like being
Listen,
triggered by things. But,
after but after hearing the story and after doing the research myself, right?
mhm,
And that's the thing is I needed to step back for a minute and collect my brain and
mhm,
understand where I stood with it. Um of all of the things that we could be mad about, especially in this case, uh the focus is unclear for me. I don't
Hmm.
understand why this is sucking up so much air.
Yeah.
But that's my opinion. And that's the thing. Everybody can agree or disagree about what they would do in a virtual court hearing, right? We all know where we stand on it. A lot of people have
Hmm.
said something in the chat. Um, but I think this is, when it comes to this case, um, the least of our problems. One of my biggest problems that I have with
Hmm.
Laura Owens right now is, filing motions to delay and exhausting Clayton and
Oh my God.
exhausting Greg and sucking up tax dollars.
Absolutely. Okay, this is another thing that like I didn't know if I should bring up, but I don't. Okay, this isn't gonna like dox myself to say I go to ASU. Like my tuition is fucking outrageous, and I care about what the state of Arizona is putting taxpayer money into, and it should not be into this constant legal battle. I mean, God, yes, there are way, 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 way bigger fish to fry here. And honestly, I mean, I've loved watching them get grilled about the GoFundMe. I loved watching Jan scramble, and whether or not that, you know, it doesn't matter if that was because I left a comment or if it was going to happen, anyway. Queen Jen said she was going to bring it up. And for me, yeah, it's been really satisfying seeing bad people finally getting called out for this this awful stuff they've been doing, for this terrible woman that they've been enabling. And I've been enjoying the aftermath in that regard. Um, the last hearing, or the last the meeting of the creditors was incredible, and it's
Yeah,
really satisfying watching them get called out for anything. But with the GoFundMe, I mean, that was one thing that like it had been like well over a year. It'll be 2 years in December that they've been like raking this money in.
right.
Um,
Well, and I think
and
that's the
it
thing,
had
right?
not been on the record yet. And that's
Right.
crazy to me.
We've gone back, as far as we possibly can with documented information to 2016, and you just actively watch the Owens serpentine. They just
Right.
serpentine out of every single situation. And it's
It's
infuriating.
it's so
Infuriating as
infuriating.
a woman, it's infuriating as a mother, it's infuriating as a taxpayer, it's infuriating as, a man and the victims. And again, it's not even just Laura making a mockery. It also just, our judicial system is like, nah, we don't care about this. But she has
Yeah,
decimated three men's bank accounts, their livelihoods.
absolutely.
And we
And
should
that of
care
their
about this.
families, their
Right.
families too. And I really hope that California is paying attention right now, the state of California too. But I think, we all hope that for Mike. But then when it comes to Ron and Jan, I mean, these are like, I mean, we know for a fact that they've been enabling this behavior. And so, yeah, I have, pretty equal amount of disdain for them. And I'm so glad that this somehow secret, and that it wasn't on the legal record yet, but still, is this very public thing. I'm personally really glad that it was acknowledged in any way, and that it's now being acknowledged. And I know there was concern about like, well, now Jan has a heads up and whatnot, but it doesn't matter if she had a heads up, because she still wasn't able to talk her way out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, we all saw that at the meeting of the creditors. There's no way that she can talk her way out of this. And what happens next, you know, who knows? Because, now there's like more activity happening. Um, with them not having the 2004 meeting. But the meeting of the creditors was just really satisfying for me.
I've watched it
Um,
1,000 times.
yeah, it was really satisfying. And I mean, something that's kind of nuts to me is that the GoFundMe is still up. It's
Yeah,
still active. And
yeah,
so, I mean, they they didn't they've learned nothing. I mean, they have a pretty clear pattern of not learning from anything. Um, but yeah, I don't think that I gave them any sort of like help by asking about the GoFundMe. I clearly it hasn't helped them. I mean, because they weren't able to explain it a week later. So,
yeah. Well, before I get out of this interview with
yeah.
you, first of all, I appreciate you doing this. I know what comes with being a content creator, and I understand that, people are going to like me, they're not going to like me, they're going to do what they do.
Mhm.
For you to take a bunch of heat, and whether I agree or disagree with you, for you to take a bunch of heat and still be like, you know what, I'd like to get on a platform and allow people to say what they want to say, I admire. I do.
Thank you.
Um, I hope that everybody can move on from this and,
Yeah.
get back to the focus, which is that the Owenses are the true villains of this story, and that some justice needs to be served, because if it isn't, either A, Laura's going to do this again, or we're going to find ourselves with a Laura 2.0. And what does that look like?
Yeah.
Um, would you like to say anything before we end this interview?
Yeah. I mean, well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on too. I really appreciate that, especially, I mean, I appreciate like the initial, risk that you accepted, but especially after everything that happened last week. I think that's, doing this today was also very brave of you, and you should be proud of that too, and you should acknowledge that for yourself. Um, I know it's easier said than done, but I really appreciate the opportunity, and I want to make sure that if there are people that are leaving this that are still angry, that's fine,
Mhm.
but don't take it out on Bacon, don't take it out on Tiff. Like, if you're still mad at me, fine, you can still be mad at me. But seriously, like, roll it the fuck back. Like, do not take it out on either of these people because they have truly done nothing wrong. This was my idea in the first place. All of this was. So please, 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 everyone, just don't be like last week. Like, calm down. Just calm down, okay? Please. Be nice. And I get it. Like if you want to be mean, there's snark forums for that about Laura Owens, Why don't you put that energy there? But I just really hope that the same kind of thing doesn't end up happening. Um, and that, you and your community feel good about this and other content creators um, understand that you've done nothing wrong here. It's been a very productive conversation, I'd say.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, I appreciate having the chance. And I do have okay, and one last thing too. If Clayton sees this, he needs to tell me where he got that Kirby painting that's like in the background of some of his like I don't know. There was some like I think it was like one of his like clips talking about Laura not getting any jail time or something in the plea deal. And there's this like fabulous painting of like Kirby, like, little pink bubble Kirby. And I want to know where it came from.
You know,
So I really want to know
I'm
that
sure if
artist.
you I'm sure if you message him on like Instagram, he would message you
I
back.
did, I did, but
Oh,
he probably gets so many all the
that's
time.
true.
Yeah, people are really opinionated about those frosted tips. So I'm sure he's getting a lot of DMs. But that's yeah, those are my takeaways. And also I appreciate your community for listening. So giving me a chance.
We
So yeah,
appreciate you. So
I
go on,
appreciate you.
carry forth, stay out of the
Will
court
do.
chats.
I mean, the thing is, like, just because you don't see me or hear me, know that I'm there. I'm
Know that I'm
watching.
always around.
I'm lurking. Yeah, the spirit of Helen lives on. She'll just do it silently instead of like a, banshee shrieking in a graveyard or something.
That's all right.
So,
All
all
right. Well,
right.
I appreciate you and go have a good day and let this
You
be
too.
the last of it.
Yes, I agree. All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, friends. May Helen be with you. Is that a Dave mention? All right. So we have all of that. All right, listen, we got to speed run this bitch because we have a lot to cover because I've missed 2 days and I won't be here tomorrow and I won't be here on Friday. Number 1, I won't be here tomorrow because I don't have a babysitter, and number 2, I won't be here on Friday because my daughter has a lip sync contest for the last day of her camp. So what we're going to go over is next we're going to be covering Lindsay Clancy. Here's what I want to say about Helen, and I want to say about everything that happened over the past week. I did the interview. We did it. We said what we said. I would like to make this the last thing that's ever said about this. I don't like being in the middle of drama. I don't want this to be what my channel is known for. It's a blip in the radar. I don't want my channel uh, attached to any of this. I would appreciate it if you're in the chat and you have opinions about what was done. Please keep it out of my chat. Please keep it out of my Discord. Everything was said. Everything was out there. We went through it. Growing pains for being a content creator. I am on the up and up. We are at almost 18K. You guys, I should be at 18K by the end of the week, and I can't believe it. And the thing that bothers me the most about this is I feel like all of this has sort of taken away from that milestone. And we have done this. We are case closed. We heard what she had to say. I need 20 people before I get to 18,000 subscribers. But we are on the up and up. I'm on my way to the moon, and I'm taking all of you with me. So, with that being said, case closed. Let's move on to Lindsay Clancy before we get into everything else. Lindsay Clancy. So she is on trial for murdering her 3 children. The prosecution is trying to state with opening statements that it was cold-blooded, premeditated murder. And the defense is saying that it's a psychosis, postpartum depression. She was on wrong meds, and this was a woman crying for help. Now, I have my notes. I took them as quickly as I could, listening in real time. So here's what I'm going to tell you. I did 0 research on this case. I'm going to do 0 research on this case. What I want to do is, for the first time in true crime on my channel, I want to go into a court hearing as a juror. I know nothing about this case. I don't have an opinion. The reason that this interests me is because I am somebody who has had 2 children. I have suffered with postpartum depression. I have also suffered with hallucinations, paranoia, OCD, and and things like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to do speed rounds. I might put a poll if you guys want to watch it, or you guys just want me to go over it, and then we'll discuss it that way. But here's what I have to say. So they had Patrick Clancy, which I thought was a very interesting first witness on the stand. I thought that maybe, I mean, I understand that you have to tell a story, and a lot of times it's easier when you make that story linear. But I just I thought he would maybe come last. So I relate to a lot of things that the prosecution are saying. We know that she obtained psych meds before seeing a psychiatrist. She was advised to take double the dose of some of the meds that she was supposed to be taking, and she didn't. She was having trouble sleeping. She wanted to sleep with her son in the bed, moved her husband to the basement. But then she moved to the basement. There seemed to be an ongoing push pull, right? There's a separation there. She got worse and worse. She switched to multiple providers for one reason or another. Um, let's see. We know that she had different prescriptions, and she was taking various pills. One of the things that I wrote down on my thing is I can't imagine what this is like for Patrick Clancy, the husband. I can't imagine what it's like before, or I can't imagine what it's like. I know what it was like for my husband to go through it. And it was hard. It was very hard because my husband only had access to what I told him about what happened, what was happening in my brain. And you're watching this man in real time on the witness stand, watch videos of him with his children when they were alive while testifying across from a woman that he loved, who is accused of and admitted to doing the worst things that she could possibly do to their children. A lot of people are roasting him online. You can't dictate how somebody grieves. And I want to there's a lot of differences between him and Rusty Yates. And um I don't oh Rem, I'm so sorry. Um I don't think that they're the same. Let's see what else. It seems that she was not taking her meds properly. Uh She was prescribed Zoloft, Ativan, Ibuspar, Buspar, hydroxynine, Buspar again, Trazodone, and Seroquel. And minimal pills were taken out of the bottles that she had, maybe 1 to 7 of the pills. What I know about being, um, I'm going to save some of the questions in here. Um, one of the one of the things that I know from being on medication is that you have to give it 6 weeks at least to work and get in your system and understand, and to, have a better understanding of how it makes you feel and get within your body. She was not doing this. Another thing that I noticed on here was that he seemed to be protecting her on the stand. There were things that the direct prosecution were saying on direct, and he was like, no, I don't agree with it that way. You have to understand the concept. Um, you have to understand the context of what was happening. And, I feel for him so much. We know that she went to South Shore hospitals. There were moments where she hadn't slept in 48 hours. They tried to say she took a weed gummy. She went alone to the hospital. She did not tell staff about the weed gummy. I feel with some of these things, they're making a mountain out of a molehill. I'm going to tell you with this particular case, right? Our jobs as jurors is they are going to have to prove it. They are going to have to prove it. So, and both sides, right? The prosecution is going to have to prove to me that she did this cold, calculated with malice, and the defense is going to have to poke holes in that story enough that I don't believe the story. So we're going to have to see as this goes on. From September to November, they talk about how she was still doing family activities. One of the things that bothers me, the way that the prosecution is talking about this, is postpartum depression and anxiety and OCD and all of these things are not all encompassing. You are not a blob of a human being in the corner where you can't speak. And I had moments of clarity when I was going through this, and I would come home and I would miss moments of sleep, and I would miss moments of food, and I would get auditory hallucinations, and I would get OCD. This was not something that was every day all day. And just because I could manage my day doesn't mean that I still wasn't going through these things. I feel like they're really misrepresenting how a person can experience these symptoms. You know, they talk about how her depression wasn't consistent, and I can relate to that. And can I can I can understand that. Tell me about your auditory hallucinations. When did they start and how long did they last? I can't tell you when they started because I don't remember. But they were intermittent. It wasn't it wasn't a thing because everything um is how did I put it? Everything flows. Everything is it fluctuates. Your sleep fluctuates, your food fluctuates, um your your mental capacity, it fluctuates. And there were some days where my son would stay up 5 days at a fucking time when I would have my daughter, and all of a sudden I would start to hear things. I would start to hear my name. My husband would be calling my name. He was not home. When my kids were not home, I would hear them crying. And it was just I would be by myself. I would hear them and I would or I and because I was so wound up at the time, just them crying would send me. I also dealt with postpartum rage. My children crying would send me in to a flying rage, and they didn't have to be home, and I could be in silence and I would hear them and it would send a visceral reaction down my body. I could feel it. I could feel my blood boiling in my fucking body even though they weren't home. And that's the thing is they would come and they would go, and at my worst moments, and you don't know that they're not real. I would be sleeping and I would hear, I would be falling into sleep, and I would hear somebody, Amber, wake up. And I would have to wake up because the kids were in danger, and then my OCD and my anxiety were going, and it all happens so fast. But you would also have these moments of clarity, or you would have these moments where you're like, my children are more important than me. I need to get through this day because I need to do it for them, which is why a lot of things for me got worse because I did not put myself at the top of the priority list. I put myself at the bottom. I knew I had to get up. I had to feed my kids. I knew that I had to bathe them. I knew that I had to get them through their day. And a lot of these things became robotic for me because I knew in my head what the right thing was to do. And my body was just going through the motions. Um, but I would have these moments where I would scream. I would scream and I would yell, and I'm gonna fucking start crying talking about this. There was a moment that I remember that I almost ripped my closet door off the hinges because I couldn't handle the noises. I couldn't handle it. Everything, your glass is so full all the time that just one drop is it, and then that fucking glass shatters and there's water everywhere. Except every single day you start at the glass full. You don't get to, and now I'm medicated, right? So every day I start at an empty glass and I fill it up. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, God, fuck, God damn it, like normal people. But you don't understand when you're in it that this is not normal behavior. And you're not supposed to tell anybody. I remember telling my my one of my husband's aunt, I hate this. I hate being a mother. I hate my children. And she just told me, don't say that. Okay. So now I can't say that. And it's difficult, and it's hard. And I just I didn't know if I shouldn't have been a mother. I remember crying myself to sleep because I had nothing left, because I shouldn't have been a mother. I should have never had children because I will never be capable of giving them what they deserve. Should have never happened. And it would keep me up. And then I would, because I was trying to save them, I would think about the worst things that um that could happen to them. And I would think about them dying all the time. I made my husband set up fire ladders in the house because I would wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like, there's going to be fire. And I would start to pack. I started to pack in the middle of the night to get go bags ready in case our house set on fire. It's I have I have thoughts about this case because I have experienced things personally. Going to a psychiatrist, going to a therapist, going to a doctor, um, and I I know what I experienced. And now that I'm out of it, I know what was real and I know what wasn't. And it's difficult and you can't see it. And I'll tell you, I got up and I would go out of the house and we would go somewhere and you would smile and yay cuz you're just trying to get through that moment and then all you were thinking was I just want to get back home because I have to prepare, I have to go do these things and I could not be present with my children. I couldn't be present with my husband. My husband would call me in the morning and he would say, "Hey honey, how are you?" And I would burst into tears and he was like, "What the fuck now?" And then some days he would call me and I would be like, "Yeah, hey, how's it going?" And he's like, "Okay, we're good today." And then 5 minutes later we'd be talking and I would be screaming and fucking smashing like it's just I was in my body, but I wasn't in control of it. I cannot explain to you uh the way that I felt. It's very hard. Hi, Chris Jenner. And her husband talked about that there were times that she was withdrawn and she was having a hard time and she was quiet. And after she took the Seroquel, there was spiraling. And that's when she just talked about suicidal ideations. And she told her husband, and that's something that I never told my husband. I never told my husband that I wanted to die. I never told my husband that I would pray when I went to sleep that I wouldn't wake up. And I've never told my husband that I thought about when my kids were away from me that maybe I should do something about it. Except the only thing that I hung on to in those moments were what do they find? Who finds me? What happens then? Um, so she talked about not having a plan. Um, and I'm not saying any to say that I have any sort of sympathy for Lindsay Clancy. I want to hear this case in full. Before I make any decisions. I think there's going to be a lot of experts to come forward. I think there's going to be a lot of testimony to come forward that we need to talk about and take into consideration. So they talked about a Surface Pro and methods of suicide. And that I believe was before she was on the meds. We do know that her mother was coming to the house. Her mother and her father were coming to the house to help take care of the baby. And she did have intrusive thoughts. She had intrusive thoughts of hurting her children. She had intrusive thoughts of them getting some ailments. She was over worried about things that, but, she was over worried when her daughter had a stomach issue that it was going to be something else, right? It was going to be magnified into this worse thing. He says that there was no external voice ever mentioned. I can tell you that my husband had no idea that I was having auditory hallucinations until I got medicated because A, I didn't know that some of those auditory hallucinations weren't real. And B, who the fuck am I going to tell that doesn't think I'm fucking crazy? My husband's at work. I'm at home. I'm supposed to be managing children. And what am I? I'm supposed to get on the phone and be like, hi, I'm hearing voices. Like, I was so scared to say that out loud. It was hard for me to be able to go to the doctor because if I went to the doctor and he gave me medication, there's something wrong with me. And now I can't manage myself. I'm so wildly and I just wanted to let you know where I was in this moment, but I was so wildly out of control of my own body that I needed to ask for help and I needed to get medicated to come back down to fucking earth. And that was horrifying to me. Horrifying, because I was no longer in control of who I was or how I acted or how I received information or how I put out information. And it's a rough place to be. Um, the husband was supportive but confused. I'll have to ask my husband. I know he'll never come on here, but I'll have to ask my husband because I could tell you my husband was probably confused as hell. Because when I was up, I was having my highest highs, and when I was low, it was the lowest lows. I would have I would have the greatest moments of my life, and then all of a sudden I couldn't get out of bed for 3 days. It just it was a very I'm sure I'm gonna ask him about that anyways. But she was on and off. She admitted that she felt like she was addicted to the benzos. Um, Patrick said that she had to see a doctor in person. She was going to do it through telehealth. And he said, absolutely not. You have to go in person because you have to, uh, enough is enough. He said that he was not concerned for her safety. And the ER visit, I guess in another ER visit, he told her dad that she was going to commit suicide. And then she told Patrick that she wanted to die and that didn't bother her. So when she gets to the hospital, understand you can't fix it, but you try anyways, right? Right. And it's hard. As a husband, you're watching your partner drown in real life. They are drowning. And that's the thing is my husband was also nervous about when I got on medication because now who does that turn me into? And we've had those conversations too. Who are you? This is not the person that I married. This is not the person that I had children with. And now you're going to be on medication. And who is that person now? There are so many monkey wrenches that were thrown at my husband that were all out of my control, that it has to be extremely confusing. And it was heartbreaking for him to watch. I know that. Um, they suggested that she went through a day program where she only stayed a day. She left the program, but both her and the doctor said that it wasn't right for her. Um, the Commonwealth brought up that she was still working out. And the thing that bothered me the most about them talking about how she got through her day and all these things that she was doing, this is not an all or nothing. This is not an all or nothing because sometimes the clouds lift and you're like, look at me. I'm a regular person. I can brush my teeth. I can comb my hair. I can maybe take a shower for the first time in 6 fucking days. Look at me. And then they start coming back. And then they start coming back. And then they open up. And then they start coming back, And then you think we didn't even have to have kids. We could be siesta. Yeah. Why did we do this again? Right. It bothers me that I feel like they're misrepresenting postpartum, but I think that might bite them in the ass when it comes to experts. You are able to do things. You are a capable human being sometimes in these moments. And a lot of times, you muster up that strength because you love your children so much. I know that I have to feed the baby. I know that she has to get bathed. I know that I have to brush her teeth. Don't worry about me. Worry about them. They talk about her taking selfies at the hospital. And I know the prosecution has to do their job. I understand that, right? But I don't know. I feel like the misrepresentation is what's gonna blow back against them. She told the husband that she wasn't getting the proper care in the hospital. And he was on the stand, did not know that she was being seen. She declined some treatments. She asked to be discharged. She was there were group therapies, there were, psychiatric meetings happening, but she wanted to be discharged for a birthday party that she asked for. And so they said that they had no insurance issues. And I, the one thought that I had put right here, if you have any women who are on this jury who have experienced this, I'm not sure this is going to go well for the prosecution. Because there were a lot of times that they were saying things and I was like, I just rolled my eyes. I'm like, I wish, especially as a woman representing this for the prosecution, I wish that they had a better understanding of postpartum. Um, you know, I don't know. So anyways, they discharged her January 5th of 2023. And then we heard about all of the kids, which was absolutely heartbreaking. Watching this man try to talk about his children, my heart broke for him. It broke. At this point, he said that she didn't have any suicidal thoughts. And again, I wrote mine was not all encompassing, and I masked a lot. People can mask, these things. I felt like they feel if you're not a drooling mess, that you're not having these experiences. I mean, the audible gasp and the fucking come on when they were like, was she able to manipulate knobs at the museum? Was she able to be shut what really? She's able to manipulate knobs. She went crying to her husband that she was suicidal and she had suicidal ideation, causing the judge, yeah, I know. I know. I know. I don't and that's what makes me one of the things that makes me so sick about this case and the opinions that people can have online is this man's getting fucking roasted. How about you lose 3 children under 5 to the hands of the woman that you love more than anything in your life. And then you have it fucking televised everywhere. And then you go sit on the stand. Why don't you just tell me how you're going to handle this? And then we'll talk. Give people some fucking grace. He talks about how he was hopeful because she seemed better. He was able to leave her alone. Nobody told her that she couldn't be alone with the children. I wrote stress fluctuates, sleep fluctuates, food fluctuates, and all of those things are a direct result into how you're feeling and how you're behaving. The question that I have to ask to the people online, what does postpartum depression look like to you? What does it look like? What is it supposed to look like? Do you think you can tell when somebody's inside postpartum depression? Because I can tell you that after I came out and I talked about it, some of the people who are the closest to me had no fucking idea. My best friends did. My best friend did. But I think that's also because she experienced it. I need to ask my husband about the roller coaster we were on. It was hard for him. It's hard for the kids. When you are a team, no matter if your team has 2, 3, 4, 8, whatever, you know, uh, it, it's a roller coaster. When one team member is down, another team member is down. I got to tell you, Heather, there are a lot of things in this case that are some red flags for me. And I have some thoughts. I have some thoughts. So, and we will get there. I don't know how I feel about the outcome. I'm just stating the facts of what was gone over and what I went through and how I personally would relate to this if I was on the jury. She was taking and sending pictures. Sometimes when she went out, she wasn't herself. She was quiet. We would be out, people would be talking, I would cry at nothing. I would start sobbing, not just like crying, sobbing. I would be telling somebody something and I would be sobbing and they would be like, "What the fuck?" And then I got medicated and I was like, "Oh, you're not supposed to do that?" All right. And sometimes I was just doing what I thought that I was supposed to do and what I thought that I had to do. So we found out that Cora was having stomach issues because she didn't want to go to the bathroom at school. Their daughter had a 5-year physical that was planned. Lindsay took Cora to that. She was coherent. They played in the snow the day that all of this happened. They did art projects. And this day was one of her best. And I have to say that one thing that I do know about um, suicide and from personal experiences of people that I've dealt with who have committed suicide, they have had their best moments the day of. So I don't find that to be um, out of the ordinary. So we know that at 5:30 p.m. there's a text for takeout, and she wanted to go to 3V, which they do not usually go to, and which is not close to their house. So that would be one of the red flags for me in this is why that specific place, why that specific time, why that specific day. Um, and she seemed to have normal demeanor. And then they took a break and they got back on it at 9 a.m. This morning. And as far as I watched it today, was when she was in. So he comes home from going to CVS. He calls her while he's at CVS. She seems normal on the phone. He comes back, or he goes to 3V. He gets the food, which she ordered. She placed it in his name. He comes home. The house is quiet. He starts yelling for people. He goes upstairs. The master bedroom door is locked. He knew something is wrong. He goes inside. There's blood everywhere. He runs back downstairs. He sees that there's a window open. He goes to where Lindsay is. She is on her back, face up. She seems to be in and out of consciousness. She tells him that the children are in the basement and that she tried to commit suicide. It said that the paramedics took about 4 or 5 minutes to get there. As they were working on her, Patrick is frantically going to the basement to find out where his children are. His children are in the basement and they have exercise bands tied around their necks. He frantically tries to untie them to see if he could do CPR, to see if he could help them. And then the paramedics come down and they tell him to then go upstairs. After she's in the hospital and Patrick was able to see her, the one thing that he mentions is he does not mention the children. She immediately mentions psychosis, which is something that she has personally never mentioned before. And for the first time, she mentions that she heard a man's voice for a moment. And that is before she did this to the children. The voice had said, "This is your chance. You have to kill them so you can kill yourself." And then she never heard it again. And then we heard the 911. Well, we didn't, but the jury heard the 911 call from her husband. And from what I heard from people in the courtroom, jurors were crying. We saw Lindsay. Lindsay was sobbing. And then the Commonwealth and the prosecution was done with Patrick. So that's all I know about the case. I know how I would relate to this as a juror. I know the things that I'm looking for and the things that I want to see for the prosecution to be able to prove their case. And the defense has to be able to poke holes. And as somebody who has experienced this, I'm interested to see what they have to say. With that being said, that'll be the end of Lindsay Clancy for today. I will take my notes. I'll also put up a poll. I'm sorry. I will also put up a poll to see if you guys want to watch that with me, or if you guys just want me to take notes and do recaps and we can talk about it together. Because I fear I am running out of some well, not fear, but running out of Laura Owens content. So I'll put up a poll in the community chat, and you guys can tell me what you want to do or what you don't want to do. Notes and recaps. Okay, I want to watch with you. I don't understand the argument against insanity. It seems so clear to me. I mean, that's their job, right? I don't know. I don't know. Did they say anything about an temporary insanity defense? That I don't know. So I'm trying not to watch the I don't want to see the behind the scenes. I don't want to see the sidebar stuff. I don't want to know anything about that. I'm trying to act as a juror. And as a juror, you are not supposed to know any of the outside of the presence of the jury stuff. You're not supposed to know anything about this case, which I don't know, and that's how I'm going to cover it moving forward. The next thing that we have on the docket to talk about today is the human shit stain that is Brian Koberger. Okay, so I took this notes from the Idaho Statesman. We know that he is now innocent. Yay! So we know that he will fight, and he has provided a statement, which we will read. He has been sentenced to 4 consecutive life terms in prison. He has spent a little over a year in segregated lockup. He took the plea. He accepted no chance of parole and waived his appeal rights to avoid death penalty. And he does have the right to ask for post-conviction relief, which I did not know because I thought that if you gave up, you waived your appeal rights, that was it, but I guess it's not. So he originally endorsed his lawyers and said that they did a great job. But according to a case, Garza versus Idaho, a defendant can always appeal on certain Sixth Amendment rights, Sixth Amendment grounds. In my opinion, he understood everything that he was doing and he was accepting of all of it. Bury that man under the jail. The one thing that I found interesting to this is the cost to the taxpayers is a little over $8 million. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And 5.5 million of that, or about it, was covered to the public defense. I will put this where I got this information in the Discord if you guys want to see it. So the deadline for any appeal or anything like this would be the first week of September. So he's putting it out there now. He made his statement. And what he's saying is, I want to come back. I want to tell my story. I want to go back and have a trial. And you know what? Go ahead and put the death penalty back on the table. But here's the thing. This has already cost too much money. You knew what you were accepting, and now you're sad because jail doesn't have throw pillows, I guess, whatever the fuck your issue is. And no, do not waste any of the more tax dollars. And also, why should these families have to fucking go through this again? Why should they have to relive this because you can't make friends in prison? Oh, sad. Anyways. Oh. Okay. So let's go to the statement. I found this. Somebody sent this to me on Twitter. So let's go to this and we'll talk about this. I'm sorry I'm moving so fast. We have a lot to talk about today, and I have a lot to make up and I have a lot to go over because I haven't been here and I won't be here. So we have this. Okay. Affidavit of facts in support of post-conviction petition. This is the state of Ohio. Brian Koberger he writes like a fucking 4th grader. Brian C. Koberger, being first duly sworn on oath, deposes and says, "It is hereby declared that during attorney-client discussions, most of which included all members of Brian C. Koberger's immediate family," how do I make this bigger? Make it bigger. And big in. Brad, where are you? Brad? God bless it. Ugh. Anyways, all right. Petitioner was convinced to falsely confess to capital murder and felony burglary by coercion, disinformation, false promises, and the withholding of exculpatory discovery. The following is material to the inception of the plea deal. 1. Counsel's failure to inform petitioner of exculpatory discovery received during plea discussions, namely clumps of unknown hair found in Ethan Chapin's hands, as well as a failure of further inquiry. 2. Petitioner was convinced that actual guilt was not an important factor in considering plea acceptance. Death row was imminent and advised to lie. Petitioner was to gain a legal victory in entering a false plea. So they told you to lie. You're liars. Your lawyers told you to lie. Thank you, sarcastic one. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you, fake Laura Owens. They told you to lie. It's stuck on the screen. But why did he? Right, at this point, he should have just come out and put magazine letters all together. It's not even the magnifying glass. I can't fucking read this handwriting. 3. A gross misrepresentation of and promises regarding what a life sentence would immediately afford petitioner, and a gross misrepresentation of death row in Idaho, including an elaborate fabricated story of counsel's horrific experience touring an actual 8x8 death row cell, all communicated to petitioner and his family, allegedly by IDOC through counsel, thus constituting threats and promises made to induce a plea agreement. Okay. Imagine that. Prison isn't all it's cracked up to be. Huh. Bye, Omar. Dude would probably believe the Army recruiters. It was all Thailand jet skis. Oh my God. How does he expect to get around that he waived all appeals and when he accepted the plea deal? Roy? Thank you. Thank you. Not only that, but the judge literally asked him. The judge was like, in sentencing, asked him more than once, you do understand what you're doing. Judge Hippler was like, let me be clear. You do understand what is happening, right? Yeah? Okay. Okay. All right. So that's that on that. We've covered Lindsay. We've covered Koberger. Now let's cover the surprise Judge Hippler, Hippler. Let's cover the surprise that I didn't think we would have today. But before that, let's do a little of this, because that's what we do. We tell Laura to go to trial, Laura Owen.
I don't wanna.
Do it.
Okay.
We believe you.
You do?
Tell your story.
All right.
Go to trial. You're not a liar.
Yeah.
We believe you.
I bet.
Do it.
I will.
Hey, Laura Owen.
Yeah?
Go to trial.
Okay.
We believe you. Everybody else is lying.
Yeah.
Go to trial.
Okay.
Laura Owens, you can do it.
Okay.
We believe you.
All right.
All right. So here we go. David Gingras is back. Back with an attack. So I wrote some notes. Let's talk about it. David Gingras, petition for special action. Gingras publicly criticized the judge after a bad ruling in Laura Owens versus Clayton Eckerd, and the state bar came after him for it. The presiding disciplinary judge ruled that lawyers basically give up their First Amendment rights when they get their license. Gingras is now asking the Arizona Supreme Court to reverse that, arguing truth is a defense. The anti-SLAPP law should protect him, and the state's constitution's free speech clause was ignored entirely. Yeah, let's read, shall we? Anyways, yeah, there are times when people falsely confess. This is not one of them. I agree. Okay, let's get into it. Do it. I hate being on StreamYard. Nope, this is not what I want. What am I doing? All right. I wish I could be back on my thing. Okay, let's go. Window. This window. Share. Okay. I have all of these papers lined up for you. So special, so special. So we have David S. Gingras versus petitioner, or is a petitioner versus State Bar of Arizona. Mark J. Randazza. I just like saying that name. I don't know anything about him, but this is from the Randazza legal group. I do use OBS. Some people every time I see a thing for Meld, I want to go to Meld. I use OBS. I like it a lot. I can help you. Okay. Table of contents. All right. This is 40 pages. So let's get through this. All right. Here we go. All right. This is all this. Petition for special action. Just get me to the goods. Show me your meats and potatoes, will ya? This case presents an important constitutional question. May Arizona discipline an attorney for truthful public criticism of a judge on the theory that the First Amendment does not protect lawyers in the same matter as other citizens? The presiding disciplinary judge answered that question, yes. Accepting the state bar's arguments, the court held the protections of the United States and Arizona constitutions yield to the Arizona rules of professional conduct when the speaker is a licensed attorney. So it's almost like there's rules and etiquette to being a lawyer. That conclusion cannot be reconciled with settled constitutional law. For more than 50 years, the United States Supreme Court has consistently held lawyers do not surrender their First Amendment rights upon admission to the bar, subject only to a handful of narrowly defined exceptions that have no application here. The bar's petition asks this court to recognize a new class of citizens. Go to this one. Oh, yeah, I like that. Rules schmools. The bar's petition asks this court to recognize a new class of citizens who enjoy less First Amendment protection solely because they are licensed to practice law. No decision of the United States Supreme Court nor the Arizona Supreme Court supports such a proposition. The decision below threatens not merely petitioners' constitutional rights, but the free speech rights of every attorney in Arizona. This court should not permit that result. As Justice Garouche recently observed, lower court judges may sometimes disagree with the court's decisions, but they are never free to defy them. Okay, great. What else do we have? 40 pages of blah, blah, blah. First Amendment.
Question mark?
What is that? What is a First Amendment? This jurisdiction has to hear the appellate special action pursuant to Article 6 of the Arizona Constitution and Rule 4 of the Arizona Rules of Procedure for Special Actions. Great. Special action jurisdiction is especially appropriate here because the challenged orders are interlocutory, but conclusively resolve important issues of constitutional law, which this court has held warrant enhanced appellate review. Enhanced appellate review in cases raising First Amendment issues provides assurance that the foregoing determinations will be made in the manner so as not to constitute a forbidden intrusion of the field of free expression. Case law. Yay, yay. We definitely need a lizard. Who's a lizard? Somebody get a lizard. We need it. We need it. Okay, so the presiding disciplinary judge expressly recognizes case presents issues of first impression, further confirming that special action review is appropriate. This course raises legal issue of statewide importance. The resolution of the legal issues involved will materially advance the efficient management of the case. Petitioner has no equally plain, speedy, or adequate remedy by appeal because the loss of the First Amendment freedoms for even minimal periods of time unquestionably constitutes irreparable injury. Lounge lizards. What? Am I chopped liver? Statement of issues. I have statements of issues. So many issues. Lauren doesn't exist. Lauren doesn't exist at all. She is just a figment of our imagination. Do you know what oh, sweet summer child? I know what a lot lizard is. I know what that is. Are they like prostitutes? She is among us. I got issues. Oh God. Must attorneys surrender their First Amendment and Arizona free speech rights by becoming members of the Arizona Bar? Do Arizona attorneys retain the same First Amendment and Arizona constitutional protections as other citizens? And if so, did the state bar establish that petitioner's speech falls within a recognized exception permitting discipline? Did the presiding disciplinary judge by granting, I love that, by granting judgment on the pleadings when the material facts were disrupted and by applying an erroneous legal conclusion that the First Amendment and Arizona constitutional protections for free speech do not apply to lawyers? Tax packet is now a lizard. Like a barfly? What? Hey, Steve. Oh, all right. While you're here, real quick, give me 1 second. I just want everybody to know that I was in the DMs with our man Steve, and then my world took a shit. I had a situation, and I was on the thing with Steve. Steve, can you please link all of your things in the chat? Let me see. So I was in the DMs. I'm going to read our DMs real quick. They are holding free events via webinar sessions once a month where they have a guest therapist, ADHD coach, or a psychologist come in and present on pertinent topics. First up is an event in August titled ADHD and the Perimenopause Cliff. Holler, that would be me because I'm an old bitch. This old gray mare isn't what she used to be. So they will be doing that. He said, if you know any women in their late 30s to mid 40s, holler. Please feel free to share, or if you're interested, I could send you the link to sign up free. I said that I would broadcast it. He said, yes, I would love to have as many women from your community sign up too. Here's the link, which he gave to me. So I will post that here if you guys cannot. So we will do that for Stefan. There it is. If you guys want to get the link. And then here is the website, which I will also copy and put into here. And there you are. So if you guys are interested, Steve is hosting that. Go check it out. The links are there. And I promised you that I would do that. And then I forgot because I ADHD. But then you showing up, it's like a rubber band on my wrist. I remember. And here we are. Thank you for that, Silver Star. I appreciate you. Okay. And with that being said, let's get back to our regular programming. Link in the Discord too. Yes, I will do that. I will do that. Remind me. Remind me. Okay. Does Arizona's newly expanded... Here's the thing about this whole thing. Do I think as a lawyer, you should be able to talk a bunch of shit about a judge and about like opposing your opposing counsel and team? No, I don't. I do not. I'd be a better fucking lawyer then. Like, why do you have to talk shit about who? Just do your job, represent Laura Owens, as you were paid to do, and be quiet. Be quiet. Let's see. Did the presiding disciplinary judge err by granting judgment on the pleadings when the material facts were disputed and by applying an erroneous legal conclusion that the First Amendment and Arizona constitutional protections for speech do not apply to lawyers? Pin it. Especially not while the case. Exactly. You're in the middle of a case. Shh, be quiet. Just shh, zip, shh, shh. Shut it. Shut it. That's all you need to do. That's all you need to do. Does Arizona's newly expanded anti-SLAPP law, ARS 12751, apply in attorney discipline proceedings? And if so, does it unduly hamper this court's authority to regulate the practice of law in Arizona and therefore violate separation of power principles? It's a pleasure principle. Oh. Was he actually paid? I don't know. I assume. Right. Right. Like all you have to do is literally represent your client. That's it. This attorney discipline proceeding arises from the respondent State Bar of Arizona's attempt to discipline David Gingras. Among other things, his truthful public criticism of a Superior Court judge, his petitioning activities, and other speech relating to matters of substantial public concern. Mr. Gingras has been licensed to practice law since 2004 in Arizona. Let's see, the disciplinary charges. See State Bar's amended complaint, petitioner's appendix. I think we already went over this. But let's see if we can go to, does this open? Oh, it doesn't. They stem from petitioner's representation of a party in Laura Owens versus Clayton Eckerd. Hey, question mark. Did you guys know that Clayton Eckerd is the Bachelor? Did you guys know that? I didn't know that. I just found that out. Did you guys know that it's a Bachelor? Also, Lauren, thank you for becoming a member if you're still here. Clang on standby, clang. I was waiting for you. But I saw that. Thank you. I appreciate. He is? What? I know. He's the Bachelor. He's the fucking Bachelor. God. A highly publicized Maricopa County family court proceeding because the case involved oh, fuck. Just keep reading. Hound, get ready again. Because the case involved a former TV star of The Bachelor. Oh, I was premature. And now everybody's pregnant. Look at me. What's The Bachelor? You know, if I just keep reading, I need like what is that clang? I need like a gong sound on my thing. So every time she says The Bachelor, I can just hit a gong. Oh, God. An extraordinary allegations of fabricated pregnancy. It attracted widespread public attention, extensive social media coverage, and live streamed court proceedings. Following the trial, the support. Okay, we know about this. Okay. All right. Mr. Gingras was not accused of participating in or having any knowledge of the alleged criminal conduct. StreamYard has a gong. Shut up. Where? Shut up. Where? Shut up. Give me a second. Oh, I don't have sounds. I don't pay for this. I do it for free. Ugh. In my head, anyway. Shouldn't be allowed to trash talk judges because what about the next client before the judge you pissed off? I mean, the judge can... Oh, yeah. That's a good point. Right. Also, just go to fucking work and do your job. And be civil. Oh, I don't know where it is. Gingras wasn't in the room when that happened? This alleged criminal misconduct? I guess not. During and after the litigation, Mr. Gingras engaged in several forms of speech and petitioning activity that later became the subject of disciplinary charges. This included criticism of the trial judge, communications with law enforcement, and private communications unrelated to the practice of law. The State Bar alleges these statements violated the rules of professional conduct. Mr. Gingras maintains his statements were either factually true, constitutionally protected opinion, or otherwise protected by the First Amendment. Well, I got to tell you that I would not want a lawyer who goes on Twitter and drags a mother of a special needs child by then also calling her special needs. So I don't have it on here, but boo his tomato. Anyways, also I saw he's on Twitter again. He's like, did I miss anything? The Arizona Constitution and Arizona's anti-SLAPP statute, see Gingras amended answer. Okay. A principal focus of the disciplinary proceeding concerns petitioner's public criticism of the trial in Owens. That criticism arose after petitioner discovered information suggesting the trial court lied upon facts that never introduced into evidence and considered material originating outside the trial record. Based upon the trial transcript and other evidence, Gingras filed a verified notice of change of judge supported by this affidavit, setting forth the factual basis for his concerns. The request was denied. Okay. And guess what? Sometimes you do that, and sometimes that happens. So there's that. But the allegations were not adjudicated to be false. They weren't? We're supposed to be day drinking? A petitioner filed his answer asserting that the challenged speech was protected by the United States and Arizona constitutions. The state bar moved for partial judgment on the pleadings. The bar acknowledged factual disputes existed but argued that they were legally irrelevant because constitutional free speech protections are not a valid defense in attorney disciplinary proceedings. Petitioner filed a lengthy, don't we know? Everything Gingras writes is lengthy. Brief opposing the motion. The presiding disciplinary judge granted the bar's motion in part, holding petitioner's constitutional defenses failed as a matter of law. Petitioner later moved to dismiss under ARS 12751. The court denied that motion, concluding constitutional protections for free speech did not bar attorney discipline, and further concluding Arizona's anti-SLAPP statute could not be applied in disciplinary proceedings because it would unduly interfere with this court's authority to regulate the practice of law. The court expressly recognized that its interpretation of Arizona's anti-SLAPP statute presented an issue of first impression that could warrant special action review. Gingras now seeks special action relief because the rulings below hold as a matter of law the fact that the First Amendment and Arizona Constitution do not protect the speech at issue, and because those rulings present recurring constitutional questions of statewide importance. Neat. No relief. No relief. No relief. Ugh. If you had a corporate job and you went into the corporate office building and did analogous things to the 6 charges that the bar levied against ESG, don't you think you would be? Yeah, you just go to work and do your fucking job. Imagine if I was on Twitter and I was like, my boss fucking sucks beeholes, and they saw it. You're fired. You're fired. Special action review is particularly appropriate in free speech cases like this one. The court has repeatedly recognized interlocutory review is especially appropriate where a case presents substantial First Amendment issues. Okay, great. We got that. This case presents an even stronger basis. The presiding disciplinary judge has already resolved the controlling constitutional as a matter of law, holding petitioner's First Amendment and Arizona constitutional defenses fail even if his speech was entirely truthful, which we say it wasn't. Based on that, holding the parties will be required to litigate the remainder of this disciplinary proceeding under a legal standard petitioner contends is fundamentally incorrect and inconsistent with controlling state and federal constitutional precedent. I'm officially Charlie Brown. Wow. Immediate review is therefore necessary if the ruling below is erroneous. Delaying review will require the parties and the disciplinary judge to expend substantial time and resources litigating aggravation, mitigation, and other issues that may ultimately prove unnecessary. I feel like Ace Ventura. Fuck. Shut the fuck up right now, Jennifer. Are you kidding me? That was you? Fuck yeah. I know all the famous people be in this chat. Jennifer? Everybody clap for Jennifer. Jennifer is the person that she said, hey, I was that special needs mom of the special needs kid that David Gingras made fun of. Happy to let you know, I did not get a pizza. How do I get you a fucking pizza? I'll make you one with my bare hands right now. How do I get you a pizza? Where do we send you a pizza? Do I just shove it in your mailbox? How do I get you a pizza? Send me your Venmo. I'll give you $20 for a pizza. Give it to me right now. BB barehanded pizza. I'll wash my hands. Clang. Bare hands or bare hands. Ugh. That pissed me off. That really pissed me off. That was in my, I put you in my video. I didn't have your name, but I made reference to that in my video about David Gingras because I am also the mother of a child who has special needs. And David Gingras can suck a fart straight out of my butt. If the ruling below is erroneous, delaying review will require the parties and disciplinary judge to expand substantial time and resources litigating aggravation, mitigation, and other issues that may ultimately prove unnecessary. More importantly, the PDJ's ruling forecloses factual development on issue. I'm not showing my screen, sorry. Directly bearing on David's constitutional defenses, including the truth of challenge statements and the factual basis supporting them. So there's that. Yeah, pizza for Jennifer. Everybody just have a pizza in honor of all the special needs mamas. Well, now I feel like I'm going to need to eat pizza on stream. We're going to have to do that. Oh, before I forget, let me just tell you guys, I'm going to go on Omar's podcast on Friday night, and we're going to talk about Lindsay Clancy. So be there or be fucking square. Okay? Okay. Let's see. This is precisely the circumstance Citizen Publishing contemplated. The controlling issue is a purely legal one. Whether attorneys retain the same constitutional protections for speech as every other citizen, absence of recognized exception. Resolving that question now will protect First Amendment rights, promote judicial economy, and avoid the needless expenditure of resources that would result from completing a disciplinary proceeding conducted under an erroneous constitutional standard. This court should therefore accept special action, jurisdiction, and grant relief. It's interesting because, again, we're talking about rules and then ethics, right? Or etiquette, I should say. And, is it against the rules to talk shit about a judge? I don't know. We're going to find out. Is it ethical? Should you? No. So, there's that. Thank you for the flower. But yeah. Look, we all have pizza now. The PDJ erred by granting judgment on the pleadings. The presiding disciplinary judge granted the bar's motion for judgment on the pleadings based upon a single flawed legal premise. The petitioner's First Amendment in Arizona constitutional defenses failed as a matter of law because attorneys do not enjoy the same constitutional protection for speech as other citizens. Do they or don't they? It'll be late, I'm sure. Mako, thanks for becoming a member. We love you. In the response to the motion to compel, Greg Woodnick rips into DSG for his tweet about special needs mom. This is a message to Greg Woodnick and Greg Woodnick only. I'm going to get you on this channel. You're gonna do an interview with me. I'm manifesting it. I can feel it. Okay? Just know that I am telepathically willing you onto this channel. Huh? Is it working? Bet. 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 Offer him lunch. I should. A motion to compel lunch. Hell yeah. That's what I should do. I should put I'm going to email Greg Woodnick and be like, motion to compel lunch and interview. You have to play the music during the interview. Okay, because that was specific. You are so odd. And where's the lie? Where's the lie? I don't know if Lauren actually likes me yet. I think she I think she's observing me to decide. She's like, I don't know how to feel about this. I'm going to message him, though, and be like, this is my motion to compel lunch. Will you please interview with me? Anyways, moreover, even apart from that constitutional error, judgment on the pleadings was independently improper because petitioner's answer denied essential factual allegations and asserted legally cognizable defenses. Under settled rule 12C principles, those disputed facts issued required denial of the bar's motion. I love you. I love you. I love you. She gives you shit, she likes you. Oh, it's like being a family member of mine. No one but Omar knows. Oh God. Yeah, I'll just be like, dear Zaddy, would you be interested in having an interview with me? He's gonna be like, what the fuck is this? The bar was not entitled to judgment on the pleadings. A motion for judgment on the pleadings tests only the legal sufficiency of the pleadings, not the evidence. The court must accept the non-moving parties' well-pleaded factual allegations as true, construe all reasonable inferences in that party's favor, and deny the motion whenever material factual disputes exist or the answer asserts a legal sufficient defense. Those standards are not satisfied here. And you know what, Gingras? Neither am I. I leave everything I read with you unsatisfied. So there's that. Petitioner's answer admitted making certain statements concerning the trial judge in Owens, but expressly denied that any statements were false or made with reckless disregard for the truth. I'm sorry, what? He made statements about facts about her dad. Dear Mr. Zeddy Woodnick. Oh my God. Never to be found again. What? Gingras doesn't satisfy me one iota. The answer further alleged that the challenge. Okay, the reckless disregard is shown if the attorney had no reasonable factual basis for making the statements. All right, what are the statements? Constitutionally protected opinion or made with good faith factual basis to believe they were true, formed after a reasonable investigation. He investigated. Did he get the answers he was looking for? All right, I'll write an email and I'll address it. Zaddy, fucking try me, tax packet. Try me. When he said what he said about Matta, Gingras didn't know if it was true. Proving now should not win him this argument. That's a good point. But also, he doesn't. Did he ever get the proof? I don't believe so. Oh, I don't like that. So many options. Show me the good faith basis that she stated those words to her father. I'm fucking waiting. Oh, God. Those allegations alone created disputed issues of material fact and asserted facially, valid constitutional defenses. Okay. Accepting those allegations as true, as Rule 12 required, the bar was not entitled to judgment as a matter of law. A plaintiff's motion for judgment on the pleading should be denied where issues of fact are properly raised by the answer. The PDJ nevertheless... Lauren calling me odd makes me laugh. I don't know why. Odd. I like it. I like it. Oh, good Lord. Get on with it, man. I know. The PDJ nevertheless granted the motion because she concluded those factual disputes were legally irrelevant because, in short, truth is not a defense. What? According to the PDJ, even entirely truthful criticism of a judge may be disciplined because attorneys do not possess the same constitutional protections for speech as other citizens. That legal conclusion is incorrect. The PDJ's constitutional analysis conflicts with controlling Supreme Court precedent. The state bar's primary position is that attorneys surrender their First Amendment rights upon admission to the bar. Is this true? I must know. Is it because you're so? It just makes me odd, or makes me laugh. I don't know. Odd is so funny. Ugh. Is this Google? Donde está? Let's see. I'm just gonna copy here and pasta here. True or false? It says attorneys do not completely surrender their First Amendment rights upon admission to the bar. However, as officers of the court, their speech is subject to unique professional restrictions and regulations that do not apply to the general public. And this is from the Free Speech Center. So, speech inside a tribunal or concerning pending litigation can be strictly regulated and ensure a fair trial and prevent prejudice. I mean, that would be it right there. Rules of professional conduct prohibit false statements of fact or reckless attacks regarding the integrity of judges and the courts. Ow. Direct in-person solicitation and certain forms of deceptive advertising are heavily restricted by the state bar oversight. Well, would you look at that? So, oh boy. Look at that. He needs a motion to compel him and to enter a cone of silence. Cone of shame. Cone of shame. Over the last 50 years, the United States Supreme Court has never approved that argument. Yeah, and you know what? What did you say, Gingras? Nobody ever gets charged with perjury. Look at you now. Look at you now. To the contrary, each time the same or similar issue has arisen, the Supreme Court has rejected it. In Baird versus State Bar of Arizona, the court held Arizona could not condition admission to the practice of law upon surrendering First Amendment freedoms. In Bates versus State, the court likewise recognized that attorney disciplinary rules remain subject to the First Amendment. And here, the Supreme Court rejected the argument that attorney speech receives diminished constitutional protection simply because the speaker is a lawyer. Great. I don't care about this. What does TR mean? I'm clearly out of touch. Deb, you don't know what TR means? Well, let me tell you a little ditty, okay? We were reading some text messages where Laura told Mike that she would like to do a now in the butt while watching Tony Robbins, the motivational speaker, because sometimes I guess you have to be motivated for that shit. I don't know. I don't do it. But Laura Owens is not like other girls. So she likes to get her cannon blasted while watching Tony Robbins in front of cannons blasting confetti. So that's why we have a little thing that goes like this and then shows you a beehole. I don't normally yuck people's yums, but Thank you. I guess. No. I don't like beeholes or Tony Robbins. I like zero of these things. That's what I shut up, Bruce. Get out of here. Narrator. The cannon was not shooting confetti. If my streams don't make me belly laugh one time, I don't want them. I don't want them. I got coffee in mine. Sorry. Listen, we don't shut up. We don't make fun of people for asking clarifying questions. We just clarify it for them. Okay? Justice for the Bean Blaster 8000 with air puff technology. Womanizer, 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 womanizer. What a time to be alive, huh? Good Lord. Asking. No dumb questions, just awkward answers. Am I kicked out now? No. Now you're in the club. Well, goodbye, YouTube. Hello, OnlyFans. Roll that beautiful bean footage. Ew, Tiffany. Ew. What are the cannons of cannons? No stupid questions, just stupid answers. Well, you see, I don't even know how I would do this. You see, when a man and a woman love each other. Sometimes they get together and they watch TV. And there's a little guy on it who's like, "You can do it. I believe you. You just have to feel it. You have to manifest it." Oh, manifest in your butt. Oh God. Next mug is gonna be lit. Why don't I keep tissue down here? Ugh. Ugh. Oh my God. I'm so glad I invested in waterproof mascara. Oh my God. I see you started on the phone without me. So, Deb had kindly asked what TR was. So, oh God. Added the big. It's all Deb's fault. God damn it, Deb. Why am I such a child? I had no idea. Hey, everybody, if you're liking the stream, make sure you go down under it and like and subscribe. You get really educational bullshit here like this. Oh, God. Oh. New t-shirt design. Oh, God. This way. Oh, God. I'm somebody's mom, y'all. Somebody gave me children. 2 of them. The fuck? Thank you, Deb. We all needed that. I should have animated Helen's interview. Ugh. All right, back to being serious. Yeah, the fact that they unlocked this now is so bad for everybody. All right. What do we got here? 4 minutes? Not bad. I thought you created them. I did. More subs I need before the end of stream? Or are we having like a subathon? Subathon. All those subs. Let's get the subs. I don't know why I said it that way. Oh! I need 4. I need 4 subs to make 18K. We are at 17. How did you guys get so many? What the hell? Slytherin snake. Oh, God. Anyways. Jesus. You guys are crazy. Let's get you to 18K. I mean, you will. I'll put it on the live. We'll have a little tracker. Hold on. How do I do that? How do I make it like a... We'll see if we can turn it up on stream before I gotta go. Uptime. See the live count. We'll do that over here in the corner. Oop, 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 oop. Oh, wait, it won't do that. It'll have to do like this. We'll try to watch it. Hey, Viking. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you, Paw Print. Draw more cartoons for ads. Oh my God. All right. If I put this here, we can, whoa, we can put this over here. All right. And then we can split the screen, I think. Let's put this here and then make this smaller. All right. Here we go. Whoa. And then I think I can just do the screen and then you guys can see it. And we'll see if we can make it before share screen. Share the entire screen. This one. And then you guys will be able to see it. Look at that. We'll make this one much smaller though. We're almost there. This is crazy. You guys are crazy. All right, we'll put this over here and we'll get back to business. Oh my God. Viking, thank you. Welcome in, art lovers. Oh my God. Extreme close up. Right. All right, let's get back to this and whatever we need to talk about. The same rule applies here. David's speech involved public criticism of judicial conduct and other matters of public concern, not attorney advising the non-confidential litigation information. Consequent. Jesus Christ, there it goes. There it goes. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to poop. Consequently, the ordinary protections of the First Amendment apply just like they did in Gentile. Indeed, courts throughout the country recognize the same principle, the accepted legal principle that if an attorney's activity or speech is protected by the First Amendment, disciplinary rules governing the legal profession cannot punish the attorney's conduct. Attorneys who make statements impugning the integrity of a judge are, however, entitled to other First Amendment protections applicable in the defamation context. To begin, attorneys may be sanctioned. Ah! You guys, we did it. We did it. This is so crazy. Because that's what we do. We tell Laura to go to trial. Laura Owen. Do it, do it. We believe you. Tell your story. Go to trial. You're not a liar. We believe you. Do it, do it. Hey, Laura Owens, go to trial. We believe you. Everybody else is lying. Go to trial. Laura Owens, you can do it. We believe you. Okay, everybody on subs now. Oh, hey, well, since Ducky's in the chat, Miss Ma'am, I'd like to speak to you. Thanks, everybody. This is crazy. Thank you. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. But Ducky, I would like to speak to you personally. Aw. Zoe, thank you. I appreciate you. Where are you? Miss Ma'am. You are right here. Unhighlighted. Get in my DMs. Okay? Get in my DMs. Let's talk. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. Listen, I would be nothing without you guys coming to watch and being here and just supporting me and also just being a part of a really great community where there's really great creators. There's a lot of really amazing creators who are also covering this same case who are out for one thing and one thing only, and that's justice. And I admire all of you. So thank you so much. And I don't know what to say. On and upward to 20K and 50K, 1 million, and then we're gonna do it. It will surpass it every time. Aw. I feel so lucky. And being in the Discord and watching, I open my Discord every morning and I see like the conversations that people are having and like, the general chat, but like show us your stuff and nature and book club and movie talk and um all sorts of stuff. Like I open my Discord and I'm like a proud mama. I'm like, look at all this friendship happening. Look at how nice. Ugh, yeah, one step closer. Hi, Helville. Before you leave, I have been told by many birdies in this chat that you and I need to talk. Helville, you're on the list. You see these? You see these highlighted people? These are people who have gotten themselves off the hit list. You're here. We need you to get off the hit list. And by doing that, it's a collab. You just made the list. Oh God. She just has a Discord. What do I think of Nick? I think that I need to have a longer conversation with him because I have so many questions and I love the way that he explains things. And I was so I was so mad that I had to go and that I fucked that up so bad. So I need to get him on my stream and we need to talk. Yeah. So Helville, let's chat. Okay, with that being said, let's get back to work, shall we? I have a lot to cover and I only have until 2:30 today. Randazza. All right, here we go. The First Amendment does not protect intentionally false statements and false statements made with reckless disregard for the truth. Isn't that like what it is, though? A reckless disregard for the truth that he did? So, against this vast weight of authority, the State Bar argued that the PDJ agreed that the lawyers do not have the same or any free speech protection. According to the bar, this conclusion was implicitly or explicitly supported. In matter of James Lawrence Riley, that argument was incorrect. And if it was correct, the court should revisit that erroneous rule. Erroneous! Riley involved alleged misconduct by a former prosecutor who later was elected judge involving comments he made during his campaign. In discussing those allegations, the court cited 1957 case from Missouri. For the premises, a lawyer is held to a narrower standard of free speech than a non-lawyer when discussing the judiciary. Judiciary. This court further quoted that 1957 Missouri decision for that idea. A layman may perhaps pursue his theories of free speech or political activities until he runs afoul of the penalties of libel or slander, or into some infraction of our statutory law. A member of the bar can and will be stopped at the point where he infringes our canon of ethics. And if he wishes to remain a member of the bar, he will conduct himself in accordance therewith. So there's that. There is that. Oh no, Hound, feel better. Ugh. All right, perfect. I love this. No matter how I hear it. Lemon. These passing comments from Riley and Woodward are harshly criticized in the dissent by Chief Justice, who warned that they were inconsistent with both the First Amendment and the Arizona Constitution. The broad sweeping generalities of the statements cast serious doubts on their constitutionality in view of the First Amendment to the United States Constitution and Section 6, Article 2 of the Arizona Constitution. If the court's opinion had limited itself to statements by the lawyer candidate which were false, misleading, or concerning pending litigation, I could have joined in that portion of opinion. The holding that a lawyer as a candidate for judge may not criticize the decisions of a sitting judge, however, is neither in harmony with the First Amendment nor with the necessities of a free society. We're not asking about a sitting judge. You were talking shit during a proceeding. Mm. trample on First Amendment speech because the bar ethics are appropriately tailored. See a candidate for a judge? No. Mm-mm. Under the freedom guaranteed by the Constitution, we must begin with the proposition that like other citizens, attorneys are entitled to the full protection of the First Amendment, even as participants in the administration of justice. Okay, so then if I'm in litigation, a lot of times I'm not allowed to say anything because it looks bad and you shouldn't do it. And I'm not a lawyer. I mean, it's not against the law, I guess. Viewed in context, it is clear the Riley court's suggestion that a lawyer is held to a narrower standard of free speech than a non-lawyer when discussing the judiciary was clearly incorrect when Riley was decided. That conclusion is even less debatable today in light of more recent U.S. Supreme Court authority, which directly rejected that holding. Those more recent decisions from the U.S. Supreme Court firmly reject the concept that lawyers do not enjoy the same First Amendment rights as non-lawyers. In fact, they say the opposite. That conclusion was yet again reaffirmed earlier this year by Chiles versus Salazar. There, the Supreme Court rejected the bar's argument that licensed professionals do not have the same free speech rights as others. The Constitution does not protect the right of some to speak freely. It protects the right of all. It safeguards not only popular ideas, it secures even and especially the right to voice dissenting views. Consistent with these principles, our precedents have expressly rejected the notion that professional speech represents some separate category of speech subject to diminished constitutional protection. But what are the rules of when you're in litigation? Like he was in an active, open, pending case. In its dispositive motion, the bar never discussed any of his authority, nor did it explain why this case should be governed by the 1957 legal standards rather than more recent Arizona and U.S. Supreme Court authority. In short, the PDJ misunderstood and or misapplied genteel. Accurately stated, genteel stands for the opposite premise cited by the PDJ. Attorney speech is not subject to greater regulation than speech by others unless the speech falls into one of two categories: either commercial speech by attorneys or restrictions upon release of information that the attorney could gain only by use of the court's discovery process. Neither of those categories applied here, so Mr. Gingras' speech was, like in Gentile, entitled to full constitutional protection. The PDJ's contrary holding misapplied. Gentile must be reversed. Common sense and respect. Yeah. Thanks for the judgment, Dave. So am I getting my 120 or not? Oh, God. Good Lord. Because the PDJ applied an incorrect constitutional standard, the judgment on the pleadings must be reversed. Once a correct constitutional standard is applied that lawyers do have the same free speech rights as others, the bar's argument fails. Petitioners' answer disputes the truth or falsity of the challenged statements, alleges they were either true or constitutionally protected opinion. No, he said that they were true. And he has no proof of that. And raises additional constitutional defenses under both the United States and Arizona constitutions. Those allegations created factual disputes that could not be resolved on the pleadings. By holding otherwise, the PDJ created the First Amendment and Article 2 of the Arizona Constitution as per se inapplicable to attorney criticism of judges, even when the criticism was truthful. What? Gingras threatened me with a defamation suit, saying basically he's not suing, but the First Amendment doesn't protect from a defamation suit in a bar complaint. Wrongfully said, I was the bar complainer. Oh, you're going to have to tell me more about that. Objection, foundation. his particular things and how they are protected, just generally laws, should have First Amendment rights, which they already have. Right. Right. What the fuck? You cannot do that while there's still an active case. It's plain disrespectful to the judge. Ugh. That conclusion conflicts with controlling Supreme Court precedent and improperly deprived petitioner of the opportunity to develop the factual record necessary to litigate his constitutional defenses. The order granting the judgment on the pleading should therefore be reversed. No. Attorneys do not surrender their First Amendment right or Arizona constitutional free speech upon admission to the bar. Here, the state bar argued that the presiding disciplinary judge agreed that an attorney's admission to the practice of law constitutes an agreement to accept restrictions on constitutional speech rights that would not apply to other citizens. The PDJ made that clear point. A person is not required to practice law in Arizona. However, once one elects to do so, upon admission, the person has agreed upon these directives in the rules of professional conduct and restrictions on one's general personal rights. I mean, it's right here, which would point me to hear this. Right? Right? Am I wrong? Am I wrong? That proposition cannot be reconciled with controlling precedent. To be sure, Arizona possesses broad authority to regulate the practice of law and to impose lawful ethical obligations upon attorneys. But that authority is not unlimited, like every exercise of state power. Attorney discipline remains subject to the Arizona Constitution and the federal Constitution. The rules of professional conduct do not supersede constitutional guarantees. So if I've got this right, we've not tested these longstanding principles since the introduction of anti-SLAPP legislation. There, how long did that take? No. I need you to say it in 8 million words or more. How am I going to understand it if you don't argue baseless points and keep repeating the argument? God. Where in the Constitution does it say that there are no consequences for speech? Well, I don't think it's about the Constitution. I think it's about the ethics and the rules of becoming a lawyer is the issue. Then he's your man. Oh, God. Oh, he's working towards. Rule 41 recognizes as much beyond creating ethical obligations, also requires every lawyer to support the Constitution and the laws of the United States and the state of Arizona. It would be an odd construction of that rule to conclude it simultaneously requires lawyers to surrender the very constitutional rights they have sworn to support. The United States Supreme Court also rejected that proposition. In Baird versus State Bar, Arizona refused to admit an otherwise qualified applicant because she declined to answer questions concerning her political beliefs and associations. The Supreme Court reversed, holding that although Arizona may regulate admission to the legal profession, that authority is constrained by the First Amendment. If you don't mansplain, how am I going to get this information into my tiny little lady brain? I need someone to take it and mansplain it for me. Please. The First Amendment's protection of association prohibits a state from excluding a person from profession or punishing him solely because he is a member of a particular political organization or because he holds certain beliefs. Similarly, when a state attempts to make inquiries about a person's beliefs or associations, its power is limited by the First Amendment. What are we talking about? 6 years later, the Supreme Court again, oh God, I don't care. All right, we don't care. Just get to Gingras and what he's trying to prove. Please. Where's the proof? Show me the exhibits. Okay, it's meritless. This limits judiciary power. Okay, great. Get me to the exhibits or the conclusion. Would ya? Here we go. Conclusion. This case presents a single fundamental constitutional question, whether attorneys surrender the protections of their First Amendment in Article 2, Section 6 of the Arizona Constitution by seeking a license to practice law. Okay, great. Good. The presiding disciplinary judge answered that question in the affirmative. As numerous courts outside Arizona have recognized, that conclusion cannot be reconciled with controlling precedent from the United States Supreme Court, which has repeatedly and directly rejected the PDJ's and state bar's position. This court should follow suit and reach the same conclusion. Lawyers do not waive their constitutional freedoms simply because they are lawyers. There will be no logic. Yeah, right. I'm trying to get to the point. Because the PDJ's erroneous constitutional premise permeated each of the challenged rulings, the orders granting partial judgment on the pleadings and denying petitioners' anti-SLAPP motion should be reversed. The court should accept special action jurisdiction, vacate those orders, direct that the matter proceed under the proper constitutional standards, and remain for further proceedings before a different judicial officer. Great. Related cases. Appendix. Good God. Just get me to the fucking... What is your proof? Certificate of service. That's it. Good. Is there a point? Is there one? Is there a half a one? Anybody? All right. What does this next one say? Oh, God, this is 332. Okay, we're going to have to get to this next week because I won't have time to start this because this is 321 pages. Good Lord. Here's the appendix. I could get my appendix removed and be back out of the hospital before I was done reading these documents. Exhibit 1. Before the preside. Okay, we're going to save this to next week. Let me write this down. What is this? Appendix to petition. Appendix. This is the appendix to petition. We'll read this on Monday because I won't be here tomorrow. You don't need to read them, but they're the, I want to see his evidence. A ton of times. You don't think, I mean, I want to see the evidence. He really wants to be right. Yeah, always. Isn't that his whole shtick? It's like being right, even when he's wrong. They're ordered, blah, blah, blah. All right, where's Exhibit 2? Show me Exhibit B. Exhibit A. Exhibit B. The notice of appeal must be filed within 30 days of the judgment. Annoyingly, but not surprisingly, Matta screwed up the form on the final judgment. It doesn't contain stuff required by the rules. Shocker. We could ask her to fix this, but that would be a waste of time. Oh, that's mainly what they are, is the motions. Okay, so it's basically everything that happened that got him here. All right. Okay, Exhibit C is this. No, the judge committing a crime was completely unnecessary. So now he's saying she committed a crime. Me explaining how this made Laura feel was entirely necessary, legal, and ethical. I hope no judge ever violates your rights and treats you this way, but if they did, how would you feel? So he's accusing her of a crime. Okay? We all see it. On to the next. Exhibit E. Oh, good. A blog. All right. Warning. I love that he puts a warning on his own blog. You're silly. Do you have a family law case? And I read this. Judge Julie Matta has recently been accused of using the internet research to decide cases assigned to her. Okay. This is the crimes, basically. This is absolutely illegal and unethical and can lead to heartbreaking results for your family. And then she goes on to say that her dad, Exhibit E's nuts, recently accused by me. Okay. In addition, after Mr. Gingras reported Judge Matta's apparent misconduct to the Arizona Commission on Judicial Misconduct, the judge appeared to engage in one or more acts of retaliation against Mr. Gingras by, among other things, filing a frivolous bar complaint against him. Those separate retaliatory acts by Judge Matta have also been reported to the Commission on Judicial Conduct as an apparent violation to the Commission's rules, which expressly forbid any acts of retaliation by a judge in response to a complaint. Okay, great. Exhibit E. Okay, this is, what is this? Exhibit E. My mother, while traveling in Southern California, I made an appointment with Planned Parenthood for the purpose of obtaining pills to medically terminate a pregnancy. My mother drove me to Planned Parenthood, but she did not come inside with me. I took a photo of the sonogram on the screen with my phone, but I did not want Clayton to know where I was. Okay, great. I did not change any other part of the image. All right. So he knows that she lied. Is that what we're doing? Exhibit 2, before the presiding disciplinary judge. This is in the matter of a member of the State Bar of Arizona, David S. Gingras, after being hired by Owens, that she had, we've gone over this. This is where he admits or denies what they're accusing him of. So there's that. All right. So we have that. We've already been through this. If you guys want to go through my past videos, admit or deny. He just says whatever he wants to say. And we didn't agree with it, as I recall. Oh my gosh. You are so long-winded. As coming from a long-winded bitch, Gingras is long-winded. Good Lord. As somebody who likes to talk, I talk in a basement to myself and people on the internet. I just keep talking, and somehow he's more long-winded than I am. Admit, not available. Admit. Give me to the next, dude. Go to the next one. All right, Exhibit 3. Good Lord. What is this one? In the matter of the member, oh God, legal basis. Regarding a motion of judgment for the pleadings, the court may consider it true such allegations. Okay. The State Bar has filed its complaint, which was served timely on respondent. All right. Respondent has unequivocally admitted most of the facts, which, as explained more fully below, independently establish certain ethical violations set forth in the complaint. Okay. Heavy poop. What do we need then? If you admitted to most of them, what do we need? Nothing. You admitted to everything. Because they don't have basements. Oh my God. Okay, so he admitted to all these things. Great. Give me to the next one. The blogs. What is this? That's conclusion. Okay. Next exhibit. Exhibit 4. Introduction. My pleading has more pages, so I win. In terms of the underlying facts, this case is exceptionally complex. Fortunately, the issue raised by the State Bar's motion are relatively simple. The Bar claims it is entitled to judgment on the pleadings because no material facts are in dispute, and based on those undisputed facts, the Bar asserts it is entitled to judgment as a matter of law. Okay, this argument fails for 3 separate independent reasons. The bar's argument, multiple material facts are in dispute. Even if all material facts were undisputed, which they are not, the bar's position is directly contrary to controlling law. Oh my God, I'm so tired of him. All right. What does this say? Respondent also asserts the disparaging statements he made about Judge Matta were entirely true, not that he merely believed them to be true. Thank you, Big Tiff Dog. They were entire. So you know that she did independent research. You know that for a fact. How do you know that? How do you know that? Did you go on her computer? The pleadings were only the complaint set forth a claim for relief, and the answer fails to assert a legally sufficient defense. All right. Okay, great. So, I mean, he just, whatever. He stands 10 toes down. Thank you for the poop. He's, you know what? I mean, I gotta respect it. Anybody who can be so loud and so wrong and stand 10 toes down, you got some respect from me, folks. Yeah, there's no self-awareness. Good Lord. What else? Give me to the next exhibity. Man, I just wanted to see what this says, but I mean, nothing is new. I see nothing has changed. I fear no growth has happened. Exhibit 5. Before the presiding judge. This is the declaration of David Gingras in support of his response to the state. I think we've read his declaration. I am a member in good standing. The origin of this dispute is Owens versus Eckerd. If there exists an overriding interest that overcomes the right of public access for the record. What? Good Lord. Good standing for now. Well, this is old. Yeah, this is old. Okay, so then she wanted to dismiss it, and he's like, she's not going to dismiss it because Clayton was like, no thanks. And then he had a problem with it. A short time later, a hearing was held on February 21st, 2044. Mr. Keith made a verbal motion asking the court to reconsider its denial of Ms. Owens' request for confidentiality. They denied, which, you know, good, because she brought it to the Sun. So why should she have confidentiality? You know, I'm just saying. Using big words make you smarter. Plan B, reporting for duty. I know, I am back online, but I won't be tomorrow or Friday. Because tomorrow I don't have a babysitter, and Friday I have a very important lip sync competition to get to. So here's where I first went on the case. Okay. Right. What's Mr. Keith got to do with this? What's your man's got to do with me? I ain't trying to hear that, see? The specific statement was made after multiple different people posted videos on YouTube claiming that they personally attended the trial in Owens versus Eckerd. They talked with Mr. Howe, and that he told them he had in fact been discussing the case with his daughter, Judge Matta. As a retired judge, because isn't her father also a judge? He said that. Is that Amy? Hi, Amy. How you doing? I understand that sometimes people lie. For that reason, when I first learned that people were claiming Judge Matta's father attended the trial, he told people that he had been discussing the case with his daughter. I did not rush to accuse Judge Matta of misconduct. You didn't? You didn't? Is that why you tried to get a new judge? Is that why you did that? Exhibit A, press release. Statement from Clayton Eckerd. Clayton vehemently denies ever having intercourse with Lowe and her correspondence, part of the 500 pieces of communication that predicated the Maricopa County Court, granting an injunction against harassment against Lowe confirms the same. Okay, he didn't want a relationship with her. He thought she was faking pregnancy. The consequence of Clayton ignoring communication, she takes him to court, the byproduct of media coverage. Clayton, confident he was being extorted, boxed into her fable after being captured on camera jumping horses during her high-risk pregnancy, and then on court video weeks later with what appeared to be a fake moon bump. Okay, great. We have all of the clang. Pasta. Oh my God. This is making me tired. Exhibit 6. Okay, so this is his reply to the state part. Okay, we've read this before. I've gone over all of this if you guys want to see this in my past, my things. I would like a ring. I would like a ring. All right, let's see. Legal dispute. Let the record reflect. I don't give a fuck. This keeps going and going. Okay, great. Then we get to the next exhibit 7, which is notice of filing, supplement authority. Gingras respectfully gives notice to the PDJ of supplemental legal authority, which bears on the issues raised by the bar motion for pretrial judgment on the pleadings. Specifically, on March 23 of 2026, the bar filed a reply in support of its motion for pretrial judgment on the pleadings. A lawyer is held to a narrower standard of free speech than a non-lawyer when discussing the judiciary. Okay, great. We went over that. Exhibit A. Supreme Court of the United States. All right, and here's Chiles versus Salazar. Okay, great. We got that. This is case law. This is more citing case law. Yes. Okay. Good Lord. I mean, I get it. I get that he has to do this. I did not realize what I was taking on. My argument failed at a lower court, so I'm going to try it again at the Supreme Court. And if they say no, I'm going to keep going until someone agrees with me. Good luck. Good luck. Ugh. All right, let me make this smaller so I can get through. This is all just case law. Okay. Or case law. Supreme Court of the United States. We got it. We got it. We got it. We're good. We're good. We're good. Okay. Oh God, half of it is this. Good Lord. Good Lord. Okay, what is this? This is motion to dismiss. Motion for summary judgment. Gingras respectfully moves for an order dismissing this matter with prejudice. Dismissal is required because the complaint contains claims which arise from state and federally constitutionally protected speech and petitioning activity, and the state bar cannot meet the burdens required. Respondent further moves for an award of costs, including attorney fees and damages, including lost income, in the amount to be established by affidavit. Okay, so he wants this to be dismissed with prejudice. So you can never come back and tell me that I was a bad lawyer ever again. Because, oh, wait, what's this? Respondent, in representing his clients, determined some of the judge's actions were tainted. For example, the judge made a finding of fact that was not based on any trial evidence, but was raised on social media after the trial ended. And the great amount of attention by anonymous trolls on Reddit, a notorious online cesspool, led respondent to describe them as fucking assholes. Not in court, but in a private email. In what has become a proceeding Kafka would consider too far-fetched to believe, the bar charges respondent with 6 different acts of misconduct, violating an order which allegedly required information to be filed under seal, which he put stuff that was supposed to be under seal on Twitter, asking the law enforcement to enforce a valid restraining order issued by a California court, which the court granted, and they were like, oh, you can't do that. Making disparaging comments about the trial judge, which we know all about that. Making disparaging comments referring to a group as fucking assholes. Pursuing meritless claims, presenting false information in an affidavit, and presenting Miss Owens's false testimony, changing version of events. Yeah, I think this is the biggest one. This is the biggest oopsie-daisy you got right here. Out of all of this, this is the worst one. As a lawyer, I do not want one that is completely unethical and would bring a frivolous lawsuit to court. But that's just me. Psychotic assholes, get it right. Oh, God. And pursing a non-meritorious appeal. Also, yes, subsection here. Good Lord. All right. See what else he has to say. I have free speech. I can call anybody an asshole if I want to. So, nana boo boo. In short, the bar's theory appears to be Miss Owens offered one version of events before respondent was involved. Later, Miss Owens changed her story after respondent was involved, and he claims that he knew she was mischaracterizing her fucking testimony, but you know what the fuck. Therefore, respondent must have known the first version was true and the second was false. She admitted to you. You said that she admitted to you that she fucking did it. Fuck. The argument fails for an obvious reason of logic. No, there will be no logic here. Just because a witness changes a prior statement does not automatically show the first statement was true and the second was false. Unless she lied like she did on the stand when you were her lawyer. It is equally possible to witness realized the first statement was inaccurate and corrected it. Oh. So now we can just call lies correcting our statements. Right. In that situation, absent clear and convincing evidence showing the lawyer knew. You said it. You said that she. The bar's theory also ignores the fact that opposing party did the same exact thing. While the case was pending, he changed his version of events in several ways. Yet again, the bar has selectively chosen not to pursue discipline against Mr. Woodnick. Well, he did it too. Or he didn't. But there's that. These are groundless. The appeal involved a matter of first impression concerning a new law, and respondent cited extensive legal authority which showed his argument was not just meritorious, but legally and factually correct. I am exhausted. I did say 10. I didn't lie. I just need to correct the record to say something smaller. Right. I just need, you know, Hey, thank you. I know, sorry. This guy makes me tired. He makes me tired. Then he goes into the anti-slap. Oops. Okay. I'm trying to speed through this before I have to go. I have 10 minutes to hurry. I would like a ring. I would like a ring. Okay. Let's move out a little bit so I can see what we're doing. Oh my God. What? Protected statement. Gotta love assholes who hide behind group names like Friends of Northampton Park. Okay. Oh God. He makes my beehole hurt. This is so funny. Takes EV backseat. Exactly. Love him. Oh, what was this? Required. Defendant has sent over 100 emails despite being blocked. Also has texted me from at least 7 different phone numbers. Every time I block one, she creates a new number. Eckerd claims Owens harassed him by sending over 100 emails. Later, Woodnick presented a materially different. Shut up. Shut up. Respondent obtained an injunction of harassment against petitioner based on the receipt of 500. These are not the same. 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 Tell me which Planned Parenthood she went to. Which one? Get me an authorized sonogram and we'll talk. Brendeza. Exhibit 9, statement of undisputed material facts. Oh, God. Okay. She filed pro se. Great. Through counsel moved to dismiss. Okay. So she moved to dismiss. The court issued an order setting a hearing for February 27th. Woodnick's motions for sanctions and fees. Okay. We know all about this. He lied about what I said in his video as well. The bar can literally use my stream from last night to discredit all his idiotic appeal. Which stream? Hellville, how long ago was this? Right. If she had it, she would have shown it. All right. This is this. All right. And then we made it. We made it out of the goop. Good Lord. Well, today was interesting. And we did it, friends. We got through it.
Emotional damage.
Oh, boy. Okay. Listen. I will not be on stream tomorrow. I will be on stream Friday night with Omar. My husband said that we could do that and that would be fine. So I will be on stream. I'm sorry. With Omar on Friday night. And then next week I will have my sister. So I will be from 11 to 2:30 every day, which my normal times. And then the week after that, I think will be normal times. And then, guys, and then when my kids go to school, y'all are fucked because you are getting content. I'm going to start doing members only vlogs. I'm going to start doing more behind the scenes stuff because I don't know, I'm really itching for some vlogs. We're going to just up the content. My kids go to school on the 19th and on the 20th, all y'all beeholes are mine. Mine. So with that being said, thank you guys for 18K. I can't believe it. We did it. We did it. We did it. Hooray. And yes, we did it. With that being said, I don't have any cool intro outro stuff because I'm not on OBS. I'm on StreamYard right now. Thank you. I like hula. And that's all I know. So enjoy each other. Be kind to each other. And come talk shit to me in the Discord if you want to. Okay. Bye-bye now.